two guys going? Yeah, tell a joke. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. At this time, I'd like everyone to take their seat. I'd like to call the February 16th, 2011, even though my agenda says 2010, 5:35 p.m., 790 Homestead Boulevard, Homestead, Florida, 33030. At this time, I'm going to ask Reverend William Chambers to lead us in the invocation, and I'll lead us in the pledge. Please rise.
Join me in prayer. Almighty, all-wise, and compassionate God, we come to you tonight filled with gratitude for life and the many joys it brings us. Thank you for the privilege of living in Homestead, a city of such diversity and opportunity. What a wonderful privilege and advantage is ours to be immersed in this melting pot, this confluence of cultural variety. We also thank you, Lord, for our city leaders, Mayor Bateman, and each of our council members. Thank you for their leadership, their abilities, and their sacrificial giving and willingness to serve. Your word reminds us that all government serves you, and we therefore ask that your Spirit lead them and your wisdom guide these deliberations, that goodness and justice be our hallmark, equity prevail, and prosperity overflow throughout our community to your glory, O God. Amen.
Please join me in paying respect to this great country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Right, face. Forward, march.
Thank you, and please be seated. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Burgess.
Here.
Councilwoman Lobos. Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilman Williams. Vice Mayor Warman.
Here.
Mayor Bateman.
Here. At this time, we're going to move into public comment. Just to remove the additions and deletions down. So at this time, anyone who would like to make public comment, we're going to keep it to 3 minutes. And Madam Clerk, you're going to keep track of it for us. And state your name and address for the record. And anyone who would like to make public comment, please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Council. My name is Joey Scioli. Well, my real name is Joseph, but only my grandmother calls me Joseph. I was here last week. Not too long ago, I was interested in purchasing the Homestead Bowling Center and Sports Page Lounge, and I left some messages on Steve's phone and Judy's phone, and I didn't get any callbacks, so I asked some friends to try and talk to them or send them emails. And then I was told that they told the city manager to get with me, and then the city manager told Jerry to get with me. And then I spoke with Jerry. I was out of town and not in town. I was at my place on the water in Cape Coral when the bowling alley went out for proposals. So I wasn't here and I wasn't able to put a bid in. But I'm very much interested in purchasing it and reopening it with a great deal of expansions to it and to refurbish the whole thing. What I want to do is I want to put a big banquet hall addition to the east end, and I want to put a weight room, an exercise room, an aerobics room, and have a kiddie center like we used to a long time ago at Town Lanes. When the parents are bowling, the kids can play. I want to expand the restaurant to 24/7, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It will only close Christmas and New Year's. I plan on having an armed guard 24/7. I have a husband and wife team that have been security guards for 10 years, and they very much want to do the job. So I would like the chance. Oh, also, I know the flat roof is shot, so I plan on putting a new flat roof on. I got AMF in Brunswick coming down to give me a price on not refurbishing, but total replacement. You and I both know wood lanes don't work anymore. They're prehistoric. Lanes for years have been synthetic material. So, in saying that, I would definitely love the opportunity to be able to put a proposal in on the place. I mean, and I'll even recoup the $100,000 that Herbie cheated me out of it. But anyway, I'd like a chance. I've been in this community. I moved here from South Jersey in 1969 at the age of 14. I graduated South Dade High School in '74 and started my construction business. In '77, I started a second construction business. In '79, I started my roofing business and my swimming pool business. A lot of you here eat in my restaurants, buy gas at my gas station convenience stores, or shop in some of the places that I've built. So, as a member of the community, I would definitely like a chance to purchase the place, and my intentions are, I've already spoke with Robin and all the ex-employees, and they all would come back except for one or two that were taking money. I have the cash to buy it, but I'm going to need at least 30 to 45 days to do a walkthrough and get everybody to come in. The air conditioning system has to be replaced. A school friend of mine from the football team at South Dade, Richard DiBenedetto, would be doing the air conditioning. I'm too busy to do the roof because of my operations in Haiti, so a good friend of mine that worked for me years ago, Tom Benton, right here in Homestead, will do the roof for me. And of course, I would build the addition.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Any questions from council?
I have one statement, Joe. The reason I couldn't call you back, and I'm assuming the mayor, we were under a cone of silence. Yeah, no, but we were under a cone of silence. I just want everybody to realize that we couldn't. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Just want to make sure.
Thank you.
Don't want anybody writing anything that's not true.
Mr. Trantham.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm Jim Trantham, 2375 Southeast 7th Place. And I know that you're going to come to an issue. I'm going to have to leave before you get to this resolution on the charter school again. And I just want to make sure that I go on record because I've had quite a few emails from the last time I spoke about the location of the charter school asking me why I didn't say anything about the school right across the street, the elementary school. But if you follow the ACUS out, you'll notice that school is just outside, maybe only 50 or 60 feet, but it is outside the ACUS, extended to that point. However, the new school is right in the middle of the flight path, as we know, the one that's already built. And the new school of 144,000 square feet will be in that zone that I call a crash zone. And I didn't think too much about that after, of course, the council voted for it, because I was mostly concerned about the incoming planes, you know, the landing approach. It's a long landing approach for some planes. Other planes even cut it short and don't even fly over that area. But for those of you who are not here, the residents who are not here, the night that Colonel Lindbergh gave that wonderful talk about planes leaving, especially in an emergency or especially in a situation where they had to have tactical planes leave, and those last two visuals that he showed of the fireballs that had consumed the area when the planes had to drop the fuel tanks. It was like it was just unbelievable. What an inferno that was. And I thought, you know, it's not just incoming planes, it's outgoing planes sometimes that might have to do something like that, and God forbid it would happen. So I want to make sure that it's understood that I still want to be on record saying that I'm opposed not to the school, but to the location of the school. The school's fine. We need that charter school, but we do not need that location. And the second item I was going to speak to, I'll wait for my colleague from Keysgate to speak about the terrible traffic congestion we're going to have there. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Name and address?
My name is Rodrigo Sepulveda. My address is 225 Southeast 32nd Avenue. I'm also a local business owner here at Chambers Center next door. I own a wireless location, which that's the reason why I'm here this afternoon, is due to a city ordinance that seems to be enforced poorly and is also affecting the business traffic to my location. Now, recently I was given a warning due to flags and wind feathers that I have on the property, but not on the actual sidewalk or street that obviously belongs to the city. But so it was on private property, and I was cited with a warning that they had to be removed. Now, the ordinance, I'm not sure what it entails, but there are other businesses in the area that do have flags and wind feathers in place right now, when, I think it's unjust that some locations get to have them up and some don't. And as a local business owner and, a member of this community, I think it's unfair when, obviously, due to the economy, I'm trying to bring in as much traffic and as much business to my location. And since I'm sort of in a corner, it kind of creates a blind spot as you're heading, south, right next door. So I just wanted to bring that concern about the city ordinance that I think should be reviewed and carefully looked at before being enforced.
Thank you. I encourage you to stay informed, and I ask the city clerk to take your name and address and keep you informed of the up-and-coming workshops. There will be a workshop, and I've asked Councilwoman Lobos to chair that on the signage part, and Councilman, what's your name? Or just to chair the other part. Just joking. And if you'll keep in touch with us, and the city clerk keep in touch with you, we'd like to have your input, because we're trying to pull the local business together to find out what the compromise is. And we do know that times are tough. And I personally believe that there is a compromise. I may not believe in a human sign walking the street or a sandwich sign on the edge of the right-of-way, but I do believe that there is a compromise to help your business grow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Name and address?
My name is Reverend Softly Arasheen. My address is 304 North Chrome Avenue. Good to see you again, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Council members. I am the coordinator of a program, the Unbreakable Chains of Faith Network. We're an advocacy group for the homeless, low-income families, and community serving programs in Miami-Dade areas. We aid the Community Partnership for the Homeless and various other organizations, and aiding in individuals in difficult times, such as, loss of job, loss of apartments, for countless residents and immigrants here in Miami-Dade. Our goal is to bring Miami-Dade's homeless population down to a manageable number, down to where we can effectively, seize and, deal with issues one by one of individuals, mainly residents of Miami. We are currently running rehabilitative services, medical services, child care. We help them find legal services, also shelter space. Since our efforts began in 2009, we were able to, get over 400 people from the grasp of poverty here in Homestead and the South Miami-Dade areas. We are trying, in 2011, we're trying to reach out to, for supporters, people to help and, clean out closets, help us to dress some of these men and women that need, work and need to, be able to, suit the occasion if they're going for interviews, or, help out single mothers with furniture, and, people moving out of the shelters, our community shelters. We just basically, we're planning to stay here. We're planning to work, around the clock to, help people to overcome situations that are, sometimes over our heads. It's no telling. But we are, we're just thankful that, we're part of a great community here in Homestead, and we're, we're planning to stay. So, that's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My name is Flora Duncan. I'm also with the Unbreakable Chains. I just wanted to say, if anybody knows any resources that might be able to help us to expand a little more and be able to reach out to more of the community, please contact us. The mayor and the councilman have our numbers. You can locate us. We'll be glad to give you our numbers. It's all, or you can also go into unbreakablechains.com, and please feel free to contact us.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Albert Aros. My address is 1821 Northeast H Street, Homestead, Florida 33030. I'm also the owner of Miami Clippers Barbershop. The reason I'm here today is because I was here last week in reference to the code enforcement, and I would like to also be a partner for you guys to make me a partner and let me know of upcoming meetings and so forth. As the previous owner from the mobile place said, it's a little bit difficult with the signs, and we understand that, as Mayor Bateman says, that a beautiful city is a proud city. And we also agree with that as a business owner. I'm part of this community, and I have a local business. But at the same time, it's hard for us to compete, for example, myself with haircuttery, supercuts, and so forth. I don't have those deep pockets to do the commercials and all that stuff. So the small form of advertising that we do have, maybe an A-frame or a flag, is very beneficial to us. Like I said, some people know who we are, but there's a lot of people in the community that don't know who we are. We employ the local residents, and we provide a service to this community. So it's nice to be able to put a professional sign out on Campbell Drive and let the community know that we're in the area, because we want to continue being in the area for the next 10, 20 years. So with your help, if we can work together and come to an agreement of what kind of signs can be available to us.
That our goal is to work with you and not against you. Our goal is to support you so that you can thrive and continue to hire locals, and that therefore the entire trickle-down effect works throughout Homestead. And I appreciate you coming back for the second time and showing your interest to get involved. And Madam Clerk, again, take his name and address. Let's make sure that he's kept apprised of all the meetings that are going to come up, that are going to happen, to workshop this signage situation out, okay?
Last time I also mentioned something about having a website where business owners like myself can go in and seeing what signs are permitted, instead of going out, doing the advertising, and putting up certain signs, and then code enforcement comes along and tells us that they aren't permitted. So if there can be some kind of clearance for us.
Real quick, let me ask the question. Is Sally here? Sally, is that on the website? I know that Sergio had put a complete manual on the website of how to do business with development services. Is the signage ordinance on the website? Okay, so the different types of signage that's allowed is that he can go online and read about it, right? Like that nice little booklet you put together for me. It's on the website, right? Okay, so it is on the website. visit
Mayor.
cityofhomestead.com. Yes, sir.
Just, for reference, I actually went online this past week to try to find some of those ordinances as well, and I found it a little bit difficult to find them, even though they are documents, and it's basically our charter and all our ordinances. Unless, you really take some time to navigate and know what you're looking for, it's going to take some time. So maybe we could either make something that's a little bit bigger, bold-faced, red, want to know about signs, go here, and it'll take you into ordinance, directly into it. So that's more direct, because you do have to jump around to get in there.
Yeah,
But
I agree
nonetheless,
with
something
you.
easier, that'd be it.
Thank you. And also, if they can simplify it a little bit. The wording isn't very clear, and at the same time, maybe if there can be pictures of the kind of, like maybe an A-frame or the types of flags and things that we can do as business owners. I agree with the council, with Steve Bateman and the council. We don't want certain signs. It doesn't beautify the community. So if we can work together, thank you.
We will. Thank you very much. And with that said, maybe Councilman Maldonado, that maybe you could give us some suggestions of how to make our website more user-friendly. Mr. Manager, maybe there's an opportunity to take an outside look at it. But there's got to be, I hear a lot that it's very, very hard to use the website.
We actually just met last week, and I spoke about that, and so we're already on top of, trying to make our site friendlier.
Okay.
So.
Great, good deal. And you'll report back to us on that,
Yes,
right?
as soon as we got it going. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Steve, can I just have 10 or 15 seconds real quick? I forgot two things. I have a good friend for years.
Hold up, because it's kind of, you're out of order right there. Yeah, go to the podium and state your name and address there. That's okay, and I don't want you to.
Anyway, I have a good friend that has a daycare center, been established for years and years outside the city limits. She told me if I do buy the bowling alley and put the banquet hall addition on, she would move that inside the banquet hall addition. And the second thing is, I would work with the city and the county to put a traffic light there at Mallory and US 1, because as one of the owners of the pool store, I witnessed 2 Metro-Dade school buses getting in an accident at that intersection. And on the weekends, it's crazy, even during the week. I mean, all the traffic is southbound from the north, have to do a U-turn to get into East's lounge over there, the Peachtree Lounge. Same thing with the bowling alley and Sports Page Lounge. That would take a lot off the city of Homestead Police Department.
Okay.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Joe. Any further public comment? Okay, seeing and hearing no further public comment, we'll close the public comment portion of this meeting. And at this point, I'm going to have the first special presentation. Because I'm the mayor. This presentation really does my soul good because, we have one of the finest police departments in all of the state of Florida, if not the entire country. And my office received a letter from Michelle Sanchez, who was a young lady visiting Homestead. She was here visiting some friends, and I don't think she made it to her destination. She had a 1-year-old child in the car, and she had some problems. But who came to her rescue but Homestead's finest? So I'd like to call Homestead's finest up, Officer Barker, Officer Robinson, Officer Di Verona, Officer Hernandez. Please come forward. See, they're all smiling. Please, gentlemen, come up here to my right, to my left. It does my heart good to give this little certificate that means a lot to me. I'm sure will mean a lot to them. But the days of officer friendly in some communities seem to be gone, and the days of officer friendly are not gone in Homestead. And I truly appreciate each and every one of you here tonight, the 3 of you, that took the time to stop and keep her feeling comfortable and safe while things were restored so she could move on. Sometimes, I'm driving down the road and I waved to you guys and I waved to you guys and I waved to you guys and some of you wave back and some of you don't. But But I just want to say that I really appreciate it when someone from outside of our city takes time to write a beautiful letter that she wrote to us to thank Homestead and the police officer Homestead. So, with that said, this certificate in recognition is to each and every one of you. Homestead Police Department, with gratitude, we thank you for your distinguished service above and beyond the call of duty. The City of Homestead salutes you, Stephen C. Bateman, and the entire council. And I thank you very much for taking the time and the effort and the patience that you did with this young lady and her 1-year-old child, because it's going to go a long ways, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
I had to come and accept this for my wife, actually. She's the one who did this. We have a little girl that's homesick with the virus. But she wanted to thank everybody, and thank you, Mayor, for the support. And I'm just glad they were there, because if I was there, she would have made me change the tire, not them. Like she always does. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
I used to always say to Officer Barker, I said, I mean, I've known him probably for, 10 years, right? Literally. And when I would see him in the police department, or he's always in plain clothes, I'd say, are you sure you're 21 even? This guy. Okay, this next presentation, it's kind of tough for me to do, because I got to tell you, it was flattering when Jason Aponte, a local artist, asked a year ago, 10 months ago, to paint a portrait of me. And I said, of me? You want to paint a portrait of me? So he came in and did a nice interview with me. And Jason, will you come up, please? Jason Aponte. I want to say that I think we're very, very lucky to have Art South and have these talented people in our community. I want to say thank you to Jason and the entire leadership at Art South. I thank you for the commission of this painting and of this portrait. It is a rare and touching honor that I have received this today. I have already seen the portrait, because I went to the studio and I took a look at it, and with 60 or 70 other artists that were there that evening. And Jason is going to tell you a little bit about himself and the type of artist that he is. So without further ado, please, Jason, let's hear a little bit about, I know he's a little bit shy, but let's hear a little bit about, what type of artist you really are, and why you came back to Homestead.
Well, first of all, I was born and raised in Homestead, and I went to school here at Homestead Senior High. And, growing up here, there weren't a lot of museums here. You had to kind of go pretty far to actually get exposed to the arts. And there were a few gems of people here that actually helped me feel that I had a place in the world as an artist, and helped me fine-tune those skills. And then once I left Homestead, I went to Miami-Dade, but then I actually had to leave town to learn a little bit more about the craft and skill of art, and more specifically traditional art. So I went to Ringling School of Art and Design, and from there I've worked more as a fine artist instead of a commercial artist, and decided to kind of go on my own path and develop work that was more meaningful to me as a person, as an artist. And then I moved to Boston, and there I actually met a lot of other artists as well. And it was a nice change to get away from Homestead for a little while, to get a certain perspective. And I moved back about a year ago. And coming back, I actually realized, how much was here, how much beauty was here, in terms of the city, in terms of the nature surrounding Homestead, but also the fact that Art South, and I actually asked Jeanette and Zenaida, come up, please. The director and assistant to Art South. And going there, basically they helped me get a studio there, where it's right on Chrome. Address is 240 North Chrome Avenue. And it's one of these places where so many artists have the opportunity to express their ideas, not just in a room by themselves with just the canvas in front of them, but with other artists, and to have a community to support it. And so I wanted to thank Mayor Steve Bateman for actually supporting us for a lot of our needs, and coming down to see the portrait, but also for allowing me to, kind of dig deep. When I do a portrait, I have to sort of look at the person and get a sense of the person, and some people are not very comfortable with that at all. But he was actually excellent, and it was actually enjoyable, and it's one of those things that, as a realistic figurative painter, to actually analyze someone that closely is kind of scary for some. But I'm going to have Jeanette speak about Art South a little bit. It'd be nice to have all of you come down to Art South during our second Saturdays, so that you can kind of witness a lot of artists at work. Thanks.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Jeanette Medina. I'm the executive director at Art South. And we did have a little sneak preview, little red carpet treatment with the mayor on our second Saturday. So he definitely did see his portrait already, and the reaction to everybody else that was there who did see it. We invited a lot of people, and we do always want to invite everyone to Art South to become more acquainted with us. We've been here 11 years now. We have a second Saturday, every second Saturday of every month. We showcase new art. We also are trying to get involved in having more cultural concerts in the sanctuary. We're just definitely working very hard to bring some type of arts and education to Art South and to the area of the historic Homestead. We invite you all to come down and see us on second Saturdays. We invite you to stop by anytime you would like to. Jason this was totally his idea to do this, to honor the mayor. He came back, and I think he came here and Steve took over, kind of like almost at the same time. And they kind of like sparked, and it was like 9 months or 10, 12 months in the making to get this portrait done. I think they were beginning to think, oh my goodness, it's never going to get done. But it was well worth the wait, and I would like you all to be really, appreciative of Jason's work. And then also, just as an aside, we also have an education component of Art South, and we're having summer camps, and we are having a after-school program from 4 to 6, 5 days a week. Scholarships available for the people who need them. And we are teaching them art and drawing and drama, and it's wonderful. The kids that go there love it. So you need to come by and spend time here at Art South, and we always could use your support. Nonprofits are getting a little tough because of cuts in all budgets. So we definitely need the people to support us if you appreciate what we do. And if you would come and see what we do, you can't help but appreciate it. Okay, that's all I have to say right now.
And I had one more thing to say, is that also any of you that have an interest in actually learning about art, all ages, there are one-on-one classes available given by many of the artists themselves. And that's definitely one way of supporting Art South. Thank you.
So should we?
Yeah, let's go ahead and unveil it.
Are we ready?
Thank you. And the arts are truly important. They're very important to all communities.
Okay, now you all say, "Aww."
And I say to Art South, and I say to Jason Aponte from the bottom of my heart, thank you. I'm very humbled tonight. It's not very often that people walk into your life and want to paint an entire portrait of you, but thank you very much, and thank you, Art South. Okay, my last presentation for the night, or my last introduction of presentation, is Maverick High School. Is Maverick here tonight? Yes, please come forward.
Good evening. I'm Paula Swope, and I'm the principal of Maverick Side Charter School next door. And my assistant principal, Tammy Lara, has been gracious enough to say that she would take the presentation over for me since I'm sick. But I just wanted you to know that at any time you'd like to come by and visit us, our doors are open. We welcome all kinds of guests to come through because we're very proud of what's going on. And Miss Lara will be sharing with you the positive things that are going on at Maverick's Charter School.
Good evening, Mayor Bateman, council members. First of all, I want to just touch on, we know that you already know about Mavericks, and we know that last year was a bumpy year. We do want to tell you that we have many, many positive changes going on at Mavericks, as with new leadership, Ms. Swope, our new principal, who came in July, and myself, who came in November, we have great expectations for the students at Mavericks. We have very much focused on having higher expectations for behavior, structure, and academic progress with our students. As you know, many of the students who attend Mavericks, this is their last chance. We have many youth in this community who are unable to attend their home schools. This school, Mavericks, offers a program that allows them to attain their goals and graduate from high school, to get that most precious high school diploma, which will give them a future here in our community. So, we want to proudly tell you that as of this winter, we have already graduated 6 students. This spring, we are intending on having a graduation of more than 40 students. These are students who would not have graduated in other places. We are very proud to be able to say that we were part of their path in achieving their goals. We are also changing the structure of Mavericks, which means that these students are now receiving remedial instruction, small group, getting FCAT training so they can pass that most important FCAT test. They are also being looked at individually for graduation requirements to make sure they have all the correct courses and training to be successful in our community when they are finished. We also want you to know that our current enrollment is already up to 401 students. And in that 401 students, we continue to grow and achieve those beautiful possibilities for these kids. We have leadership now in the school. All of our leadership has some type of counseling background, which is something that is so vital to these students since they have had such a bumpy path. We also want you to know they are still attending 2 shifts. However, within those 2 shifts, they must stay there for the full 5 hours so that they are getting 300 hours of instruction. This is very, very important. As you know, there are many benchmarks that need to be reached with the Sunshine State standards. We are making sure that all of those standards are addressed while they are accompanying us in our school. Finally, I wanted to address something that was most important that was discussed with me regarding what our school was about. An impression was formed of what Mavericks was last year. It is no longer that place. And we welcome you at any time to come in and visit us. We would formally like to invite the council to set up some kind of visit so that you can come and see the wonderful things that are changing, the positive things that are going on in our school to improve the youth that so desperately need that last chance. And finally, we want to tell you that because the police department has been such a vital aspect of us being successful, we do not have as many issues anymore at Mavericks. Because of all the changes, their role is more of a positive role, being that positive role model while they are visiting us during the day. We haven't had to call them for other issues. So we can see that all of the things that Ms. Swope, myself, and the leadership team that have come into Mavericks are doing is improving not only the impression that the city has had of Mavericks, but giving these kids that vital second chance. So we wanted to make sure that you understand our doors are always open to you. Please come and see the great things that are going on and become a partner with us to make sure that we reach these kids that so desperately need to be able to finish. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any questions from council? Vice Chair?
I'd just like to say one thing. Tammy and I have known you for many years, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to hear this presentation tonight because was it yesterday, Julio, Jerry, Barbara? Yesterday we were talking about an issue with some of your students from over a year ago, well over a year ago, wasn't it, with the parking lot? Yeah. So that's good news, and I'm going to visit because I'm so happy to hear this because. It was quite an issue that we had with the students leaving the school and hanging out in the parking lot area that the customer service has and the even the area that's not paved. So I'm very happy to hear that.
Two quick things. My background prior to coming to Mavericks was 27 years with Miami-Dade County Public Schools. So to me, when I was given the honor of being the principal at Mavericks, that was to run Mavericks like a traditional public school. One of our teachers wrote something to our students that I thought was so remarkable and says it all, and that was, as your teacher, I will raise the bar, but I'll also be there to help you get over it. And that's Miss Lara and my philosophy in running the school. We're not going to lower the bar. We're going to raise it and make sure that they achieve what we have set for them.
Congratulations.
Thank you
so much. Thank you. Okay, Education Committee, Councilman Maldonado.
Good evening, everyone. All right. Got a little script here. I don't know if I'm going to stick to it. I'm not too good at these. Hi, I'm Elvis Maldonado. I chair the Education Committee for the City of Homestead. Right now, I want to invite my Education Committee, any members that are here from the Education Committee, please come up and join me. Yes, Jim, that would be you too. You got to know who's making this happen. I'm just a face. This is the brains. Over the last several months, the Education Committee has identified on areas on which to focus, and these are some of the areas that we've been focusing on. We've been meeting since March, I believe, June of last year, we started meeting. Within the short time that we've met, we've accomplished many items. And some of the things that we came up with is that we were basically focusing on the areas here in the City of Homestead with the schools and what we need to focus on: reading comprehension, parent involvement, highlighting schools, and discipline. And in focusing on these schools, what we did was basically identify the feeder pattern from Homestead Senior on down, and we highlighted the schools and focused on those schools as the feeder patterns to help them out. So the 5 schools, the 5 local schools that were selected for the committee's focus are these schools, and they were chosen according to the feeder pattern. The 5 schools are Camel Drive Middle, Laurel C. Saunders Elementary School, West Homestead Elementary School, Camel Drive Elementary School, and Homestead Senior High. I met with the principals from targeted schools to determine how the Education Committee would best serve the schools. The committee and I determined that schools already have great programs focusing on the target areas. What is needed are resources and incentives for students. We also invited the principals and or representatives from the schools to our meetings to inform the committee how they feel the committee could best help them. So far, we have heard from 2 schools. Other presentations have been scheduled for the coming month. The committee has met and is currently working with Miami-Dade County Public Schools Intergovernmental Affairs and Grants Administration Department, as well as the University of Miami Schools of Education, to form partnerships that will benefit these schools in the form of support, personnel, and donations. The committee has also participated in several literacy and crime prevention events taking place at these schools. The committee will also be approaching the business community to ask for donations to provide more student incentives, such as computers, iPods, and uniforms, and etc. Right now, the committee is working on forming partnership with local production companies and schools to inform and highlight what great things the school are doing and what the students are accomplishing via the media. What we're doing here is that we're going to be working through our channel, so soon, with the council's blessing and the communities, we're going to start highlighting the schools here in Homestead and really start to show mostly the public schools here, the schools that were mentioned. We're going to highlight the schools that we mentioned, and we're going to show, what's happening in that school, what the kids are doing, and the successes that they're having. So we're doing many things, and I think right now what we're doing today here is the Education Committee has bought 6 laptops. 4 of the schools will get a laptop, and the high school will get 2 laptops. The schools will use these laptops as incentives to reward a student for improvement in any of the focus areas as described. Tonight, we will be giving the laptops to the representative of each schools. So basically, one of our main goals is that we want to really help out the schools here in Homestead through incentives, giving incentives to the students so they will really, really get involved in whatever program that's going on in the school. So what I would like to do is I would like to call the representatives for first for West Homestead. Do we have a representative for West Homestead here? Please come forward. And again, these laptops that we're given from the Homestead Education Committee with funds that we had, and we will continue to get to give back to the schools here in Homestead. So thank you. Camel Drive Middle School, we have a representative. Don't go too far. And I'm going to put someone on the spot here. I already found her. Here's a laptop.
Very, very much.
Camel Drive Elementary School. Ms. Thelma Fornell. Now, elementary school, I was a principal for the day here at Camel Drive Elementary, and this is the school that I've adopted, so I'm working with. So. Thank you. Stay here, because I'm going to. And then Laura C. Saunders Elementary School. We have a representative for Laura C. Saunders? No? Okay. And then we also have Dr. Robinson from Homestead Senior High School, and they will be receiving 2 laptops. Thelma, I'm going to put you on the spot. I know you like when I do that. And I'm just going to ask, how is it that you're going to use the laptop as an incentive? Because what we asked is for the schools to write, how are you going to take this laptop? How is it going to go back? How are you going to use it as a tool to encourage the students to continue their learning? So she didn't know this was going to happen, so she's on the spot.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We have so many incentive programs going, but the kids are going to be thrilled. What we're going to do is we've looked at our interim assessment data. Children take a baseline test at the beginning of the year, and they just took their interim, and we're going to look at the children that have made either 20 percentage point increase or they've scored 70% or higher. And of all those children, the 4th and 5th graders, we're going to put their names in like a little raffle, and they've known about this, are excited, and the winner's going to get the laptop. So it's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's really motivated them.
And again, I couldn't have done it all if it wasn't for my committee members, and I do have 2 committee members here, Jim Trantham and Miss Alicia Corrales. They are the backbone of this committee. They're the ones coming up with all the great ideas and working hard to make sure that we make a difference in these schools in Homestead. So to my committee members, thank you for your dedication to our community. And we know that this is just the beginning of better things to come. We have some great things that are coming down the line that are going to make an impact in our schools here in Homestead. We kept a small group, a focus group, and we're going to make sure that we're making a difference. So those schools that are here represented today know that we're here to support you in any way possible, and we thank you for your cooperation and working with us. So thank you all. Thank you.
Let's get a photo op. Ellis, let's get a photo op.
A photo op. Yeah, I'm not good at those, but yeah, you guys got to come back. We got to get a photo op.
get a little bigger. Somebody's going to paint your picture.
Okay.
Producing them is tough, let me tell you.
I would now like to call, I'm still up, right? I would like to call a representative from Air Base Elementary on an initiative called the School's Green Team. Ms. Parcell, is she here? Ms. Parcell? Yes, all right. Got a presentation from Air Base Elementary, and I just want to recognize as well, Councilman Burgess was a major component of this, what's happening here. So please come forward.
Thank you very much. My name is Hannah Purcell. I am a teacher at Air Base Elementary. We are extremely proud of having the opportunity to be here tonight to present just a handful of our accomplishments at the school. And we are teaching our children, obviously, to reach out to their community, and that is what they are going to do here tonight. Share a little bit about what's happening, share their pride, and ask for support from the city of Homestead, and which has come consistently, and the students would just like to have the opportunity to do that themselves. With no further ado, thank you very much.
Lourdes, yeah. Hold the mic down for him.
Hello, my name is Brianna Trinos. I'm a 5th grader at Air Base Elementary. We have transformed our school with our native butterfly gardens and our outdoor classrooms created by our faculty, parents, and students. We have not only beautified our school, but more importantly learned that by planting native species, we are reducing the need for gas-powered machines, conserving water, and the cost of manpower. Our learning gardens are saving our environment and money all at the same time. Further, we now qualify for certification with 3 different wildlife organizations and have an organic edible garden. These are all wonderful hands-on learning experiences for Air Base students, families, and faculty for years to come. We respectfully request that the city join us by encouraging the planting of native species like wildflowers while also saving money and the environment in the process. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Allison Molina. I'm from Air Base Elementary and I'm a 5th grader. Our success began when our students, faculty, and parents pledged to go green by saving energy, water, and reducing waste. As a result, in addition to the recycling programs we have implemented at school, our families are now recycling at home and at work. We would like to invite the City of Homestead to join our efforts to reduce waste by providing recycling bins at election polling sites. We have also noticed that there are businesses that do not provide opportunities to reduce waste by recycling. Can you help us encourage them?
Yes.
My name is Rebecca Brew, and I go to Air Base Elementary, and I'm a 5th grader as well. One of our initiatives is the Air Vent Ceiling Project. Our school was built in 1958 before air conditioning. As a result, we have 80 huge vents, about like this size. And they are energy guzzlers. We approached our maintenance department, and they agreed to permanently seal these vents, saving tons of CO2 and money at the same time. Yet another way our school is going green and helping our environment is through our Green Rangers program. Each class has 2 students who ensure their classmates and teacher to save energy and recycle. One of the ways our school is reducing our carbon footprint is by participating in Earth Hour on Saturday, March 26th from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. This is an international event where everyone takes an action in support of our environment by turning off their power. We would like to invite the City of Homestead to join our efforts to save our home, our Earth. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to ask Patricia Fairclough to join me up here. She's from the Southwest Advisory Committee, and Councilman William was unable to make it today, and there was a presentation that he had, so I'm doing this on behalf of Councilman Williams and the Southwest Advisory Committee. As part of the 2011 Martin Luther King Jr.'s festivities, the Homestead, Florida City Community Relations Board and the Southwest Advisory Committee hosted an essay contest for area high school students. Essays from high school applicants were judged based on demonstrating a clear, concise understanding of what Dr. King's contributions were towards the civil rights movement and impact that it has today. We have participation certificates for all the students who submitted essays. I am pleased to announce the winner of the contest, Alicia Costello. In addition to her certificate, she will also receive a $50 gift certificate from Spellbound Books. And what I'm going to ask is Ms. Faircloth if she could just kind of maybe want to talk about how it came about.
Good evening, everyone. Before I begin, I feel like a proud mom tonight. I don't have any kids, but those 3 young ladies that were up here, I just happened to be their 2nd grade teacher. So it was a pleasant surprise to see them tonight. I didn't expect them to be here. But at any rate, back to the topic, stick to the topic. I pleasantly serve on the Southwest Advisory Committee, and this year we worked in collaboration with the City of Homestead and Florida City Community Relations Board to spearhead this year's MLK Breakfast. And throughout the implementation and planning phase, I figured, why not engage our high school students in this process to allow them to reflect on Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy and the impact that it had on today's society. So that's how the MLK essay contest came about. And I would like to thank Councilman Maldonado, Councilman Williams for the role that they played in bringing this to full fruition. So with that, I'd like to present Maldonado and give him the honors to acknowledge our students.
Thank you. And so what we're going to do is we didn't get confirmation on who was or who was not here. So what I will do is I'll call all the participants that won. And if whoever is here, and I will call Ashley Costello first because she was the winner. If she was here, would you please come forward? There she is. Ashley Costello, she's the winner. Congratulations, Ashley. Let me read this. It says, Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate is awarded to Ashley Costello for participation in the 2011 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s Essay Contest. The city salutes you. Presented this day, the 16th of February, 2011. And here's also a gift certificate from Spellbound Books. So, thank you and congratulations. Okay. Now, I will call the rest of the participants, and they were all winners in this. So we have Alvarado Camacho, Rodney Castillo, Vanessa Davilos, Hector Hernandez, Joseph Poza, Coltrane Rickert, Juan Rivera, George Santiago, Kylie Speed, Tiffany Trilly, Brianna Verdi, and Jarvis Davis, which he is here. He also comes from Jarvis. Congratulations. And what we will be doing is that we will make sure through the committees that were participating that the rest of the awards are handed out. Thank you, Ms. Faircloth, for helping me out with this presentation, and that is it for me for today. Thank you all.
Thank you. Now we'll have Vice Mayor Wallman has several recognitions. The first one being Little Miss Britches.
Good evening, everyone. I'm very pleased to introduce to you the winner of the Little Britches Cowgirl contest. and that is 8-year-old Guinevere Latham. Is Guinevere here? No?
Yeah, there she is.
Yes. There's my pink shirt. Hi, Guinevere. Stand right here so everybody can see you. All right, I'll take my hug. All right. I'd like to ask Sally Woods to come up here with me because she was one of the judges as well. And little 7-year-old Daniel Carlson was the overall cowboy winner, but I don't think that he's here tonight. Correct? Okay. The Little Britches Cowboy and Cowgirl Contest is one of our many field rodeo events, and it's sponsored by the Homestead Rodeo Association and Homestead Main Street. This year we had 48 boys and girls, and you talk about stress. Where's Sally? we had stress. They were all dressed in their best cowboy and cowgirl outfit, and Sally and I had the pleasure of being judges this year, and the children were judged on their attire as well as their personality. And you can guess one of the reasons she won so big. There are winners in the different age groups as well as an overall cowboy and cowgirl prize winner. And of course all the participants walk away with a prize, and winners, they're all winners in both of our books, I know. But do we have a little something for her? Wow, look at that. She's ready. You want to read it? You want me to read it? Can you read it? Okay. Genevieve, on your outstanding accomplishments of winning the 2011 Little Miss Britches Cowgirl Contest. I love her. Do you want to say something? You sure? Okay, she's shy. She doesn't want to talk. All right, can we get a picture? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Mayor, may I?
Please.
Okay. The next presentation that I have tonight is a sad one for me. Come on up, girls. I love talking about Miss Homestead and also Miss McLean. Evelyn, you want to come up? No? Yes? No? It's up to you. I love talking about the Miss Homestead Scholarship Foundation. The organization helps young women obtain scholarships, life skills, and provides many other opportunities. The pageants they sponsor are also a preliminary to the Miss America pageant. And I'm very proud to introduce to you Miss Homestead 2010, Carla Duke. And I'd like to also introduce to you Miss Homestead Outstanding Teen 2010, Crystal Ruiz. And this is Miss Evelyn McLean, who everybody knows Miss McLean. She has been a volunteer for years and years and years with Miss Homestead. Carla graduated from the Mass Academy Senior High School 2010 and is currently attending Miami-Dade College. She is pursuing a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry degree, and her career ambition is to be a neurosurgeon. You changed it, didn't you?
Yeah, your husband convinced me.
My husband told her she wanted to be a pharmacist, and he said, why don't you go on, you're so smart, and be a doctor? So they had this big conversation over dinner one night. Way to go, Murph. Carla's platform during the Miss Homestead pageant was taking a stand against teen usage of drugs and alcohol. And Crystal is a sophomore attending the Visual and Performing Arts Academy at Southgate Senior High School and has been accepted to the School of Advanced Studies at Miami-Dade College. I feel like these two are my own. I mean, I've been with them from the very beginning, and I love them very much. She has a passion for dance and was selected to perform with the Spirit Dance team at the Macy's New York Thanksgiving Day Parade this year. Crystal's future plans include attending FIU and working towards a degree in forensic science technologies. And Crystal's platform during the Miss Homestead Outstanding Teen Pageant was Hands on Miami, the importance of community service. So I'd like to give these two an opportunity just to say a little something, because it's sad, but it's February 26th, I believe it is the new pageant. And these girls hopefully will go on, because it's the way they go to school. It's scholarships. And it's so important, and they have such a wonderful organization here in Homestead. So why don't we let Miss Outstanding Teen go first and save Miss Homestead for last.
Well, I am Crystal Ruiz. This year has just been an honor for me. I never expected
the opportunities I would get out of the Miss Homestead organization. It's helped me grow as myself. I've become actually more confident in myself and with my speaking and my walking and everything. And now with working with Neat Stuff, I have been able to actually raise money for underprivileged children, and I'll be able to clothe them with uniforms and school supplies. So it's really helped me a lot. And I want to thank everyone for this fabulous opportunity.
Thank you.
The parents need to come up here, the parents of Carla and Miss Crystal, because of the parents, it's because we have such fine young women. But let's step over here. I have a little big something for you here. And this is a certificate of appreciation for all of your endless hours of service, okay? And she gives me all these great pictures I have in my office. Okay, thank you. And Chris's mom, just want to say thank you. And Dad, the chauffeur. So let's get one more picture. And thank you for being such wonderful parents. Thank you so much.
Well, good evening, everyone. As many of you know, February 26, 2011 marks the end of an incredible chapter of my life as Miss Homestead 2010. The City of Homestead has made today and my journey as Miss Homestead possible. Thank you, guys. But one thing I've learned is that it is the generous spirit of every Homestead native that has made my reign so meaningful and memorable. Judy Waldman and Steve Maitman, you guys have taught me the most important things in life: integrity, responsibility, and the power of faith. I love you guys so dearly.
Don't make me cry. Oh, she's really crying.
Oh boy. Sorry. I will continue to be an active member of our community. And I hope your support will persist as I pursue my goals and dreams in life. With this said, this award is certainly an honor, and I do appreciate the recognition and your thoughtfulness in designating me for this award. Thank you for being here, for supporting me in this every day, and for being the very essence of what makes Homestead a place to be. So after all of that, I am proud and forever, I'm forever and proud to be Carla Duker, Miss Homestead 2010.
With this beautiful plaque. If I'm this bad now, can you imagine at the pageant on February 26th? This is a plaque from the mayor and I and the rest of the council for all your hours.
Thank you.
And good luck.
And her mama, thank you so much. Thank you. Crystal, do you want a picture with the mayor too? Yes, she does. Yes. And Miss Evelyn, get up here and say it. She just was telling me what to say, and she says it best.
Girls are going to cry to give up their crowns and sashes, but they do get to keep them forever and ever and have fond memories. They have been wonderful representatives for our city this year. They're lovely girls, and that's what we want to keep going for Miss Homestead. And another year we'll have Miss Teen. We won't have it this year, but we'll get back and come out to Homestead High the 26th, 7 o'clock. I'm not sure.
7.
But anyhow, it's 7, okay. And see the new production. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. We appreciate everything you do. And I'll be there, I promise. Okay? Thank you. I think the mayor will be there too.
Oh, yeah.
Next, I'd like to do a presentation to the First Florida Wellness Center. And is Maritza and Jesse still in? Jesse's not? This is Maritza Colazo. And the reason that I'm doing this presentation is I think businesses should be rewarded when they just extend such a friendly hand and their smiles. And I was in a car accident a few months ago, and they've been putting me back together. And every time I walked into the office, the girls just smiled and just so warm. There was always such a friendly atmosphere. And Maritza, I met her one day, and I said, you guys have got to come, and I've got to at least thank you in public. She's the big dog. She works everywhere, Tallahassee, all over. And they have 22 employees, Mayor, in our city. Wow. And they have doctors who speak English, Spanish, Dutch, Creole, and I don't even know what this is.
Dr. De Jesus, she's actually from the islands.
Okay. But anyway, they have technicians and chiropractors and massage therapists, and they're wonderful, and I just wanted to reward them for being here in Homestead and selecting our city to have one of their clinics, and thank you for your smiles. And when people are in pain, it's nice to have somebody there who's just so sweet and kind, and I appreciate it. And if there are any other businesses who would like to be recognized, just give us a call, give me a call, or Anna at City Hall, and we'll be happy to do that. So with that being said, Maritza, this is in recognition of your commitment and dedication to the Homestead community.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's take a quick picture and.
I want to recognize Steve Shelley's law firm. I'm going to come to you, then I'm going to bring you.
I wasn't prepared. I mean, I've been with Florida Wellness of Homestead. I started there in the year 1999. My boss, actually, Dr. Reynaldo Perez, opened the office back in 1996. We started just with one doctor, one x-ray tech, myself doing billing and collections. Approximately in the year 2005, we became one of the offices with 1-800-411-PAIN. Now we have 6 offices in Dade County and 1 in Tallahassee. And I hope that to continue providing great service for anyone that goes to our facilities.
Well, I'm walking, and I can move my neck now. So
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last, Eric.
But not least.
But not least. In December, we had an outstanding event called Dinner with Santa, and we received so many wonderful compliments that the mayor and I thought that it would be really nice to just recognize them in public. Our Parks and Recs department. Dennis, you want to come up here? Because without them, this would have never been such a great success. We had over 500 people attend the event, which was held at the community center, and it included a nice dinner, ceramic class, a train ride, music, the snow, and of course Santa. So with that being said, I just wanted to thank our Parks and Recs department and thank them for all that they do and for making these events so wonderful. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Mayor, Council, again, I think I have to thank not only you guys, but the city for coming out and supporting the event that we do, that the council actually gives us the benefit to provide for you guys. And this event was very magical. I've done 3 events so far this year, and this one, to this day, people still see me in the store and talk about this event. It's touched a lot of families with their kids and kind of like brought Christmas to their home. So, again, thank you.
And let me echo that. I attended this. It was outstanding, probably the best we've ever had. I mean, with the motorized train that ran around the entire community center, to the snow, to the dancing that you had, it was phenomenal. My hat's off to you and your entire team.
Thank you. I'd like to just say thanks to my dad who played Santa Claus.
Yes, thank you, Dad.
Oh, no.
That donated his time to the city.
Dad, you have a nice certificate coming to you.
No, Santa Claus was really there. He was just an assistant to Santa Claus.
That's right.
Oh.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager. Just another good event done by my coordinator here. At first, I know when I'm in trouble when he comes in my office and say, "Sir, can I talk to you?" So I had to sit down. I said, "What's up?" And he goes, "Hey, I want to have dinner with Santa." And I was like, "Dinner with Santa? We always have breakfast with Santa." So he said, I have an idea, I want to do it, and of course he did a great job, and I'm very proud of him with my staff and everything, and Pops for being a Santa.
Thank you. For being an assistant.
Yep. And I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
I'm going to have to train these guys, I'm telling you. Okay, anyway, thank you very much, Mayor. I'm done. Thank you. And thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Keep doing a good job.
I know. God bless him. Santa. Dad, I thought that was Santa. Okay, that's the fun part of council is over. Now we're going to get down to business. I know a lot of you are here for business, and we've got some good business on the agenda tonight. I'd like to go back to item 6, consent agenda. Entertain a motion to move it forward.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Thank you. Questions and comments on any item that's here on the consent agenda? There's many items. Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays? Motion carries. Okay, we're going to move into the public hearing and land uses.
Yes.
Quasi-judicial.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff has made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to either be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization, and further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications they've had concerning any of the following quasi-judicial agenda items.
To the attorney, through the mayor.
Yes.
I did have a discussion with Mr. Abbo on the Marriott and all the items that pertain to that.
Yeah, and I also have had discussions with Mr. Abbas prior to the meeting on several items. Yes, sir.
The same as me. I've also had a meeting with Mr. Abbo in which he discussed the Marriott Hotel.
Ditto for me, no meeting, but just a brief conversation.
And here it is now, Mr. Abbo.
Thank you. At this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify this evening on the following quasi-judicial items.
Please stand.
Raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. You may be seated.
Okay, we're going to move on to tab 16, second reading. Entertain a motion to move it forward.
So moved, Mayor.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, second.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Mr. Shelley, staff report.
Hang on, Mr. Mayor, I have to read the title. And just for the public who may be following along with this agenda, we're going to be taking things a little bit out of order than what's identified in the agenda package. We need to take tab 16, followed by tab 23, then tab 18, then tab 17, and tab 15. These all pertain to the same project. Moving forward with tab 16. Tab 16 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving an amendment to the Malibu Bay PUD Master Plan by removing 6 residential units from Pod H to incorporate the property into commercial Pod G to become part of the future commercial site plan, and also relocating the entrance road for Pod H, located southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, east of Southwest 152nd Avenue, Kingman Road, and north of Southwest 312th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
Okay, thank you. Staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the ordinance on second reading, which will amend the Malibu Bay Plan Unit Development Master Plan by removing 6 residential units from Pod H and incorporating those into the property into commercial Pod G, also relocating the entrance road from Pod H.
Okay, thank you, sir. Questions from council? Okay, hearing no questions from council, at this time we'll open the public hearing. And questions from the public, please come forward to the platform, the microphone, and state your name and address. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And at this time, any final questions from council? Okay. Hearing none, seeing none, at this time I'll close final and ask for any final comments. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, tab 23.
Yes, Mayor. Tab 23 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval for a commercial retail center on approximately 6.1 acres of land located on the south side of 312th Street and east of Southwest 167th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Motion to move forward.
Move it.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Shelley. Staff report.
Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve this resolution granting the final plat for the commercial retail on the 6.1 acres of land located on the south side of 312th Street east of 167th Avenue. The replat authorizes the removal of those 6 units from Pod H and the incorporation of that land into Pod G to allow the proposed hotel. The proposed plat modification also provides for the relocation of the entry road to the north and changes Pod I by moving the eastern boundary west and increasing the acreage within the tract to the south. This is a 7.56 plus or minus acre of land located approximately 250 feet to the north of Campbell Drive. The site is currently vacant. It's zoned as a planned unit development district. The future land use designation is light commercial use.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council? Hearing no questions from council, this time I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And any final questions from council? Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Maldonado? Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 18.
Yes, tab 18 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for a portion of Pod G within the Malibu Bay Plan Unit Development for a 59,953 square foot commercial hotel on approximately 7.56 acres located southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, east of Southwest 152nd Avenue, and north of Southwest 312th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Motion to move it on.
Move it.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
The current property is vacant. It's located, the site is zoned as planned unit development. The future land use is light commercial use. The applicant's requesting the site plan for the approval of a 100-room, 5-story hotel and about 59,953 square foot hotel with a pool, convention space, small restaurant, kitchen, and bar. The staff is recommending approval.
Okay, thank you, sir. Council, any questions?
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Through you to our staff and the manager. I have spoken with both of you, but just so that the general public knows and it's out there and everything, we have done a traffic study, and everything has been come back, I guess, as needed, and everything's been taken care of with the applicant.
Yes, sir. The applicant has provided a traffic impact analysis in accordance with our concurrency management system, Chapter 1.5 of our code. It evaluated intersections and links on the roadway network within a certain radius. I think it was a 1.5 mile radius of the site, and the hotel will not cause adverse impacts or degrade the level of service below the level of service standard set by the city, and therefore there's no need to provide any mitigation.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And a question to the applicant, if I
Sure.
could. The 59,900 feet, is that comparable? How does that compare, just so people understand what we're doing and the size of it, compared to the Hampton that's there now that you guys also own?
Just a bit smaller than the existing Hampton. The existing Hampton is approximately 74,000 square feet. And by the way, I'm Larry Allo, and good evening. Thank you for taking the time for our request this evening.
Thank you. Mayor and City Council
Okay.
members.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have now.
Think any further questions from council? Okay, at this time I'll open the public hearing. Does the public have any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions from council? No final questions. Roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, tab 17, resolution.
Yes, tab 17 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request for sign variances from the Code of Ordinances for the Malibu Bay Plan Unit Development located southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, east of Southwest 152nd Avenue, and north of Southwest 312th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, a motion to move forward?
Motion moved.
Thank you, sir. Second?
I'll second it with some discussion.
Thank you. Staff report?
The staff is recommending that the mayor and council approve this resolution, approve a resolution denying the application for a site variance because it failed to meet the analysis criteria of the code, section 32-40C. Should the council feel that the sign variance meets the requirements of the code, a resolution should be adopted approving the requested sign variance. The Planning and Zoning Board voted 6-0 on February 2nd, 2011 to recommend approval for the sign variances. The applicant is requesting three variances to the city sign code. One is for height, to allow a 23.5-foot tall monument sign where a 12-foot tall monument sign is permitted under section 23-80, paragraph 7 of the Code of Ordinances. The sign area, number 2, to allow a monument sign of 155 square feet in area, which would exceed the maximum sign area of 80 square feet, which is permitted for a freestanding or monument sign under the same section of the code. And number 3, the number of businesses/occupant identifications per sign, to allow 11 tenants to place their corporate logos on 2 hotel property signs within the Villa Portofino East Plan Unit Development. The name of the multi-tenant sign shall be considered the main occupancy, along with 6 tenant names per sign face.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
In lieu of where we are with our workshop that we had last week, and with you tasking Councilwoman Lobos to come up with some new sign stuff, and this being probably 6 or 8 months down the road before the sign would be up for the hotel, I would like to see this tabled until we come back as a whole body here and have figured out what we think is where we want to go in the direction, because you know, if we give these people a waiver tonight, is Publix going to come back? Is Walgreens going to come back to us? Or where do we go? And if we start changing things now before, and we don't have our code in place, or what we want to make amendments to the code, I think we may be, down the road, it may be detrimental to what we're trying to do as a whole. So myself, I would like to make a motion to table this. I'm not sure how important it is to the applicant until we have come further down the road with our discussion in our workshops. So I'll put that motion out there.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Mayor, can I have some discussion?
I'm sorry?
Do we have to second the motion? I'll second it with a discussion.
Okay.
I think the word here is the precedent that we're going to be setting here today. What I was thinking about is along the lines with Councilman Burgess, was where we now have hotels coming up from off the turnpike, and the signage is very important. We've heard today and within the last couple of meetings the importance of the signs for businesses, and without signs, there's a saying that a business with no sign is a sign of no business, and we definitely I would like to see us work on making sure that we define that for the city before we move on. As it stands today, I don't think I could support it with all our ordinances that are in place, because again, we're setting a precedence. If we decide to say yes today, who will it be tomorrow? And the precedence is a key word here, because it's always going to go back, it's going to fall back when the next person wants to come in, the next company. So I will second the motion with that discussion. Again, because right now I couldn't support it as it stands today. I mean, even though I agree with what Mr. Abel said, I spoke with him as well, and I agree with their concept. I think we just have a few items that are ahead of us that we need to take care of first, and I think we need to go back to our signage, make a decision on what we want in that area. Maybe we want to have an option. Maybe there it's from the turnpike within a certain area, it's allowed here but not allowed elsewhere. So again, I just definitely would like to work on that, look into the workshop coming up. So that'll be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Maldonado. Mr. Mayor. Yes, Ms. Shelley.
I echo the prior comments in that, that was one of the things I looked at other signs within our community up and down 8th Street. I asked staff to take a look and give me an idea of what the dimensions were of some of those signs, and I drove that street and just kind of give you an idea of what these numbers on paper actually would be in real life, because I was concerned about too big of a sign. And after doing that, it doesn't seem like necessarily it would be out of character with some of the signs that are already in existence. So I think that we do need to maybe look at the policy of our general signs, and we've already kind of addressed that through our code workshop, and we're going through the process now, but I do think we need to maybe reevaluate what we have as a policy for signs. Maybe we need to carve out an area around the turnpike, maybe Campbell Drive, because one thing I did notice as well is that when I looked at signs that were put in recently and complied with the code, I didn't really notice them that much. Lowe's has one that's probably 12 foot, but it got lost in the shuffle, where all the other signs that were bigger and actually in violation of the code because they were grandfathered in, I did notice those. So somewhere in there's got to be a balance between too big and too small, but also allowing the businesses to get the visibility that they need for the customers. So I do too think that we need to maybe look at this from a policies perspective and see if we need to change the code and then deal with the sign versus just keep making exceptions for each sign that comes through and setting a bad precedent.
Mayor.
Yes, Vice Mayor.
I'm not sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to say something? I'm not sure, but it looks like the sign that's in front of Publix is the same size sign that they're requesting. Is that right? I don't have any way to measure it, so.
I just threw that name out there, just, as not necessarily
But
stating.
isn't Publix the same
Vice Mayor,
size?
the sign in front of Publix, there are two near the Publix. They're quite a bit larger than the sign that's being requested. The largest is,
that to me that's a big deal, and I kept thinking, and Joe, maybe you can help me, is that rather than have a bunch of different signs cluttering up the frontage, why not just have the one sign with all the tenants' names on it? To me, that would be a lot cleaner. And if it's the same size sign, well, you say the sign in front of Publix is even bigger. So, James, how do we do that? How was that passed?
The signage that's across the street is a sign that was approved under your old sign code. So whenever it came in, I'm not sure when it came in or when it was permitted, but it was done under your old sign code. I think staff might be able to tell me, but I believe it was 2007, somewhere in there, around there, whenever the Homestead Pavilion DDR project was coming on board, that the city went through and you all adopted changes, massive changes to your sign code, and adopted a number of commercial design guidelines for the various commercial corridors.
I remember when we did that, but what I'm saying is I think it would be a lot tidier and neater for our beautification, not to have a lot of signs, but to have one sign and have all the tenants' names on that. It's also important for businesses, and I agree with what I think Mr. Shelley just said about businesses near the turnpike. They need to be seen from the turnpike. So, you know, I'll go with the consensus of the council tonight, but I'm okay with this.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I've got a question or two. How many signs would you be allowed to have, individual signs, if you weren't going to consolidate into one? What would you be allowed to have under our current code?
It's my understanding that under the code, each particular parcel would be entitled to a 12-foot sign.
And how many?
So ultimately, that could mean, at this time, 3, 4 of those signs, possibly as many as 5.
5 signs you could possibly have.
Yes.
5 individual signs.
12 foot.
Okay. So my second question was...
May I add something to that
please.
thought? Our intent meets within the PUD's definitions of minimizing clutter and having an organized signage program. Our thought is being very conscious of the sensitivity of the sign discussions in the city, was actually to improve through consolidation of the numerous signs that we're entitled to, ultimately reducing square footage of the overall signage that would be allowed on the site. But in order to achieve that, we need a space for each one of those tenants that would otherwise individually be allowed a 12-foot sign. That is the purpose of our request. Being conscious of our surroundings, we did measure the public sign that's directly across the street, and we propose to match the same height, even though our width is narrower, trying to be more compliant with the code. This is really an intent to have beautification instead of simply meeting with the code to its words that didn't necessarily have a community or a project signage in mind with all of the uses that we have brought to the city of Homestead.
Thank you. That's all for now. I'll say that.
Thank you very much.
I think that it was pointed out at the last workshop, at the last Cal meeting prior to the workshop. It was at the code compliance workshop, and that is why I reached out to Councilman Lobos, was because even in her words, and I don't want to speak for her, was that the changes that were made were obviously not working, is what she said. And that's why I felt that she would be the most appropriate to head this workshop up, that they were obviously not working for the businesses. So with that said, Councilman Shelley.
And just so I guess my position is clear, is that I don't necessarily believe I have a problem with the sign. I think that the idea is good. My biggest thing is I want to make sure that we have uniformity such that if we approve this sign under a variance and then the next group comes in and then the next group comes in, you know, I'd rather have a code where we've actually changed the code in general to say that this size sign or something within this framework is allowable so that we don't have to keep doing these special exceptions. So that's really what I'm getting at. So whether we pass this one tonight and then work on the code, or whether we table it, work on the code, and then that way everyone's passed uniformly, is really kind of where I'm at. I think that the concept is good. Again, like I said, when I drove Campbell Drive, I noticed the shopping centers that had the bigger signs, the ones that actually complied with our recent code change, I didn't really see. And so I think that's a concern for those businesses. But I don't know how big is too big and how small is too small. And so there's a median there that I think we can find. And so that was really the point. That's really where I stand on the issue overall.
Mayor.
You want to just
Yes, I'd like to make an additional comment. We have been trying to find the best solution and took advantage of having reached this level of planning now with a second hotel in order to put the permanent signage. We're currently, unfortunately, in violation of an agreement with Hilton for the Hampton signage that has been missing. And Marriott, seeing that we were so delayed, would create some problems with our franchise agreement to not have the signage. So it is critical that we make a decision, and ultimately we'd have to build something for signage. I'd like for that something to be the best it can be for the city of Homestead, and ultimately for the multiple uses that we've consolidated within the Villa Portofino East Plat. I'd also like to mention that there is a restriction proposed within the resolution that we weren't aware of until we just were able to print out the resolution. And it calls for no additional monument signs to be placed within the entire commercial area. And I need to point that out because inasmuch as it is our intent to eliminate some of the signs that would otherwise be permitted, we have a requirement by the brands to have some 5-foot signs, not 12-foot signs, but 5-foot signs at eye level, so when you're driving up to the property, you're not looking up at the building to find if you're at the right place. And those type of signs would qualify within the definition of monument sign. And I would ask, if you were to consider this variance today, that that resolution be qualified as nothing more than 5 feet, instead of no other monument signs at all.
Thank you. Mr. Maldonado, he was patiently waiting. Yes, I'm sorry.
Is it a reference to what he was just talking about? All right, go ahead.
He asked me if it was in reference to what you were just talking about, and so you are saying that there is an urgency, because you are right now in violation of not having the proper signage in order to have your franchise.
That's right. We are in violation of our agreement with Hilton. We have explained it. Every time they come out to do an inspection, they comment on our missing sign, and we have been asking them to be patient, because we're looking for a good overall solution for the community, not just for the Hampton.
In my notes, I had written down urgency and question marks. So with that being said, then I think you do have an urgent situation. And Mayor, I don't know how we can change things around, but I have no problem making a motion moving forward on this tonight, with the exception that we would still go back and do the proper workshops and everything else. But this is a business that's ready and willing to come into our community, and I think it's time that they're saying that there is an urgency.
Well, what we'll do is vote this up or down, what Mr. Burgess has on the table, and then we'll go back to the original, and then we'll vote that up or down.
Through the mayor to the applicant.
That's the way I believe it has to be done.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, please.
To the applicant, the sign that was just recently placed up in the Portofino Plaza, where the
yes.
What's the height on that one there?
That's a 12-foot sign.
That's a 12-foot. So
yes.
that would be the same type that you would have anywhere from 3 to 5 on that property there?
No, what I'm referring to is one
not the monuments, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry?
On your regular signs. The signs that, what we're talking about is, instead of having the 3 to 5 signs, that would be about 12 feet, which would be the example that's on your Portofino property now, instead of having one that would be, a comparison would be that to one of Publix, but slimmer.
Exactly. I want to share with you that we've been at this planning stage for a couple of years, actually. During the Hampton process, we did propose a number of signs, design them, and so on. I think the concern of precedent, and George just pointed this out, and I think it's a proper statement. You should consider that this is a unique PUD, and it is a PUD. It's not straight zoning like the shopping center across the street. Maybe that was a PUD. But there are straight zoning projects and there are PUD projects. This is a PUD, and there are unique approaches to solutions of signage and other things within PUDs. So I'm not sure that it would be a precedent, and certainly I defer to staff, but I think it's important to differentiate between the two types.
Because during this process and looking at this, reading everything, and staff did a great job in presenting us with the information that we have before us. Obviously I live in the east side, so I definitely run into the public sign and I see the height on it, but I see that ordinance was adopted in September of '08, and so that's where those signs were grandfathered in with the height that they have. And the comparison to Galileo Plaza is also about the same height, actually a little bit taller and actually wider as well. So, and for those signs, they are effective. But the funny thing is, the gentleman that was here earlier from the Clippers is still suffering for that. So I understand the importance of the signs. And again, I would agree with your theory and how, let's get one big sign instead of the multiple signs. And again, I just want to, conform to what we have before us today. And so I would actually like to see it changed with us, to the city first, and then it's just going to be a straight through. So again, just that's all we're trying to do here today, at least from my part. Thank you.
Further questions? Okay, no further questions. We need to take the motion that was made and seconded. Madam Clerk, let's.
Could I ask one quick question?
Sure.
If we were to come back in 30 days and had written some new ordinance or some new language, would that time frame be acceptable?
30 days
I mean,
to...
I'm just saying,
We'll never.
and I get a look from over here.
They go through with first reading.
Yeah.
I don't think you can accomplish it in 30 days. It's passing a little bit.
Just wondering where they are on the time. Trying to get a solution. Okay.
So the motion is what?
Motion is to defer or to table to go to a workshop.
Well, until we get our codes, the mayor has tasked Councilwoman Lobos to work on the signage, and that's all I was asking. I wasn't sure of the urgency. I hadn't discussed that with the applicant, but that's all I was asking.
Can you withdraw?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, so
You want to defer to
I
a
can support
time
it
certain or just indefinite? I mean, it is an application that they filed, so they do have a right to a hearing.
Somebody from staff would need to give me some sort of
Time frame.
guidance on that Councilwoman Lobos unfortunately isn't here tonight. I was hoping she would be here.
30 days. She's very busy.
Yeah.
Well, you all would need to have a workshop, and some direction from the council would need to be given to staff.
But I think they're going to be expecting some sort of recommendations from staff, so I guess the question is, walking into a workshop, how long will
I think
that information?
Well,
I say it's a 90-day process to get it approved.
There you go, at least.
Plus, it's an ordinance got to go through P&Z. It needs
First and
two
second
public
reading.
hearings, two hearings. So.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just for me, because I'm trying to make a decision on what I want to do, on whether I want to try to table it or whether I want to move it forward. If we were to pass it, then how soon are you putting the sign up? Are you putting the sign up this week, or are you going to wait till you're going to put the sign up when you're actually starting to build the Marriott?
This signage would pertain to all of the uses that currently exist, so our intent would be to construct it as quickly as possible. We are missing that signage, and it is very much needed for the success of the businesses in that location.
Yeah.
You thirsty?
Yeah.
Yes,
Besides that, I'm sure it takes a while to get the sign made, so.
Yeah. Well, it's a number of months, of course.
Yes.
There's production time, and we have to submit for building permit, of course.
Yes.
And all of the pieces that go along with constructing it.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm ready to move.
Thank you.
Mayor, based on what they're telling me and what staff is saying, I think we'd put an unfair, with my motion, we'll put an unfair burden on them.
Do you withdraw the motion?
So at this time, I'll withdraw it and just let people vote the way they want to vote.
Thank you.
Because we don't have it's time sensitive to them. We can't give them a specific time as to when it would be done, so let me take that off the table, and we'll vote as we vote.
Okay. If there's no further discussion from council, what we need to do is open the public hearing to the public and allow the public to be heard. If there's no one to speak in favor or against, I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions from council?
Got a question?
Yes, Mr. Mulvaney.
In passing this today, and maybe through James, would Olive Garden and Longhorn are they going to be able to come back and say, well, we know that this just happened, we want to go ahead and change this and raise ours? Can that happen at all? It's just a question I have, I need to ask it.
The answer is yes. Any business who has signage or wants to erect a sign in the city of Homestead always has the ability to come to you and ask for a variance from the sign regulations. And each one of those applications are reviewed on its own pursuant to the criteria that's established in 3045 of the code that's outlined in your staff report under those variance criteria. So each one would be reviewed under that criteria as a standalone application. But if you all are making variances, or you find that you're making variances, you're getting lots of applications for variances to the sign regulations, then that's indicative that perhaps the sign regulations should be amended to reflect what you all are doing with regard to variances.
Okay, that works for me.
I mean, does anyone find the public sign obtrusive?
No. And Mayor, if I may,
Yes, please.
as chair of the tourism committee and as chair many years before of tourism, we've been begging for a quality hotel like this. You know, we're blessed with the Hampton and Valued Place, but the Marriott, you know, Marriott. So I just don't think we should allow this opportunity to pass us by.
Okay. Further questions from council? Okay, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
We're voting on, just for clarification, we're voting on the original.
As
stated.
printed.
As-
Here.
Well, as
He
printed is to
withdrew.
deny.
Well, he
Staff
withdrew.
denied.
Right, as printed, it's a.
Is denied, so you vote yes to go with staff, or you vote no to go against staff, right? Correct?
Yeah, that's why I just wanted to
You
make
want to
sure I was
explain it to
clear.
us instead of me?
And Mayor, staff is recommending us to deny the signage,
So we
correct?
vote yes if you vote with staff. If you're against it, you vote no.
May I make a
If you're for the
If
sign,
you're for the sign, vote no.
vote no.
I know how I'm voting, I'm just trying to clarify.
Sorry, because I tongue-tied it. Okay, any further questions?
Sorry to interrupt, but I would ask the consideration that I posed before with regards to the modification of the monument signs restriction on the overall commercial site to be modified to 5 feet instead of the 12 feet, because otherwise we still can't be in compliance with our franchise agreement. That's the issue.
Mayor, that would have to be added in if this motion is voted down, then that would be added into the new motion, correct?
Yeah, you know what, for simplicity, the way this resolution is written, because we wrote it both ways, we gave you the option of approval or denial, so the right motion would be to approve to approve the resolution approving the variant, to adopt the resolution approving the variance.
All the language is in the resolution, so that if you vote that approving the resolution, approving the application, then they can just pull the language out of here and it'll read.
Right, we gave you a sort of an all-purpose resolution which
What
could
about the
go
monument signs?
either way. And so-
That's fine, but how do we
we address
incorporate
these
the
concerns?
5-foot monument signs?
Pardon? Go ahead.
Or an easier way is just to recommend approval of the variance or no to the variance.
Right.
Well, again, I'm back to the monument signs.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, if you could maybe give me some guidance on the monument signs, I mean, what is that going to end up affecting? I mean, what's that going to look like, these extra 5-foot ones now? I mean, I have
How
no
many?
idea from,
Yeah.
from a planning perspective, what does that mean? I mean, can you explain that to me?
You're going to have a lot more signs in its most simple part. I think that was my understanding of the agreement that this one sign would then take away the ability to put, I think, up to 10 other signs on these individual parcels of land, which means that you'd have 10 other parcels that would not have signage. It would all be consolidated into one. So if you allow more of those signs, you're just going to have more sign clutter out there. So you've got a very big sign and then a bunch of little ones.
Okay. Yeah, that's my only concern with this, is that the argument to approve the sign, and then you turn around and make the same argument to give you additional signage. So it's one over the other. So that's my only concern here, is that I don't want to approve this sign because you want to consolidate your signs and then turn around and also allow the signage in the backside. It doesn't seem like we're negotiating very well.
Well, no, the restriction we still agree with, but the problem is the way it's defined on the resolution. The definition of a monument sign is any freestanding sign. And for the purposes stated before, that when you have a car driving up to the building, we have, if you were to go by the Hampton, we have a sign that may be this high that you can see through your windshield instead of people trying to drive and look up at the building. It's a typical standard that's required on all these franchise agreements, and we have to abide by them. This is not a 12-foot sign. of multiple tenants, and you could further restrict it to one tenant near the building it serves. But that is the purpose of a sign. It's more of a directional sign, but because of its individuality, it would fit within the defined term.
And just for clarification, this is first reading, correct? So if we pass it as is and then it gives staff directions? Resolution. It's just a resolution? Okay. Because that's my only concern. I just want to make sure I know the effects of the type of signs and
Mayor.
a little more detail to that change.
I think the issue of us not having seen, the staff hasn't seen the sign package, so I would just urge some caution in that regard, and that they haven't seen it, so I don't really know what it is.
Which?
Your sign package.
Mayor?
With the additional signs.
Well, we have submitted the sign for the variance, the 23-foot sign, but there was no request specific to the others until we saw the restriction just
I think the point
today.
I'm making is that you're asking for something that the staff hasn't seen yet in terms of the monument signs, so I'm just urging caution in that particular piece. And so if there's a way to give you flexibility, I just want to make sure that the staff at least knows what it is that they're asking you for, which at this time we don't know.
If I may, I think that we need to move forward on this tonight, if you don't mind, and then, because this is urgency because you have the Hampton already up. The monument signs we do have time for, so why don't you allow staff to look at that and work on that. And let's get this one out of the way, and then we'll come back to the monument.
I'd like to explain that because that is in the package, and if I may, I'd like to expand on that a little bit to explain the difference between what the variance. We have two different concepts. One is the variance that we're asking for, which is basically advertising. You know, here's Hampton Inn, Marriott. Stop here as you're driving down. That's the purpose of the 23-foot sign. This is a PUD, this is not a shopping center, so it's got interior streets. Once you're inside, you got to find your way to the appropriate place. We have submitted a sign package that includes directional signage. But once you get to the actual location, you need something else telling you, okay, this is where you're at. So that's the differentiation we're making between the monument sign, because the way it's described, the definition in the code, it could apply to the location sign, which is just a sign for the individual parcel. And that sign is just saying, you know, come into this driveway right here, this is our address and this is our location. The alternative is the 12-foot signs all over the place. And something else I'd like you to consider is that when you're looking at other signs, and something the Planning and Zoning Board pointed out when they endorsed our sign and recommended approval, was that signs like the sign across the street for Publix, while it might have been approved by a prior code, it establishes a sense of neighborhood. That if you start having different signs, there's no harmony in that neighborhood. That is sort of, in order to have harmony in your neighborhood, you need to have things that are similar. Otherwise, you have a haphazard environment.
Excuse me, Mayor, may I ask a question?
Sure. Vice Mayor.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't this the same Marriott sign on all the Marriotts as you drive in?
Yes, it's a franchise standard.
That's just my point.
What's the dimensions? I mean, nobody said them, so that would help clear it up.
But if I just may, Mr. Burgess, this is part of the franchise agreement. It's the same Marriott sign. Listen to what I'm saying. Everywhere in the United States that you see, it's the same Marriott sign. So I don't know why we're having such a problem with it.
Sure, please.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the big sign. That's not my issue. I mean, I'm okay with the big sign. I'm okay with that as it is here.
But the
I'm
monument
fine
sign.
with that. The monument sign, I have no problem with that. The only problem I have is now you're saying you want to also modify this additional 5-foot signs, and I don't even know what these 5-foot signs look like. So what I would like to do is pass it as is, get the sign going, and then we can always amend this resolution, can't we, to allow these other signs once we have a chance to analyze it, look at it, because you're not going to put these other signs up right away. You're going to put this sign up right away.
Yeah, actually, one of them is already up within this parcel. And what we're asking for is not the approval of that sign. We'll submit that sign for approval. We are just, and I believe it's part of the site plan, the last page of the site plan submittal anyhow, so it has been submitted. But the concept, because of the language restricting any other signs that are freestanding, that's really the issue here. It is not a matter of you approving 5-foot signs tonight. We're not asking for that in this application. We're asking for it not to be restricted from any other monument signs that would be of a directional nature and no more than 5 feet.
Mr. Mayor, what I would suggest is that if the council wants to give itself the ability to consider those other signs at a later date, that the condition in the resolution be amended to say that no other monument signs will be allowed without council approval. So that if they want monument signs, they've got to come back to the council with a full sign package. We'll see what they look like. That way you're approving this sign tonight, but giving them the option to come back for the monument signs at a later date. Does that solve the problem?
That sounds fine to me.
Okay, so that if that's, people are interested in that, it would be a motion to approve the resolution granting the variance with the amendment to the condition saying that they would not have any monument signs without coming back, without council approval.
As stated, I'll make the motion.
May I approach to show you the sign that's part of the site plan submittal so that you can get a clear understanding? And if it pleases council, to include, if possible, the approval of the site plan sign that's already a part of the site plan application. It is already part of the site plan consideration. The problem here is that we will be in violation of our franchise agreement if we can't fulfill our obligation.
Mayor, I think the problem, though, with this kind of stuff coming on the floor like this, with the staff having seen this stuff, I just would caution you that, I mean, if the staff hasn't seen it.
They have seen it. It's part of the site plan application. I just wanted to point it out, that's all.
What we're approving tonight, or the variance request, is part of, is the sign we looked at in the site plan. Is that not correct? And then we are approving what we saw, the big monument sign. What you're considering is
But
that.
he's also saying that there are some smaller signs within his sign package that, that you have.
He is allowed directional signage and other types of smaller signage on the property, and that's not in question to us right now.
This is the last page of the architectural drawing showing the on the second and third page is indicated in
Honestly, we need to review this, and there's a habitual that we get these things put in front of the staff at a public meeting to make these types of determinations when we've gone through weeks and months of reviewing site plans. My recommendation as staff is to stick to the issue that we have before us, which is a variance on the sign, and then review the other information once we see it. He's allowed directional signage on the property. Nobody's questioned that. It's part of the code. We've not asked him to not do that or not vary that. The condition of the resolution was to not do the other monument signs, which are larger in nature, which essentially this big sign was using that space. And that was the agreement as we had come to it, and that's why we're sitting here tonight. So, frankly, I'm a bit confused by what's happening at this point in time, and I would like to see it all in one place again, and then to make a recommendation on it.
Applicant.
And I think, Mayor, if I, just to clarify, what I've been told is that there was an agreement between Mr. Abbo and the staff that if they were granted the variance on the larger sign, that they wouldn't be doing the smaller sign. So that's either true or it's not true, and I think it'd be helpful for the record to find out what's the case there.
No, I think the smaller signs were 12-foot signs. We're talking about 5-foot signs, small directional signs now. He's saying we're not going to do the 6 or 8 or 10 12-foot signs. We're going to do one 24-foot sign. But in our sign package, we have small directional signs.
We do not prohibit small. We are not arguing the fact that he cannot do small directional signs. That's nothing that we are. It's not part of this conversation. We're not prohibiting.
Did I explain that right?
Yes, the only difference is that the way that the resolution exception is written, it talks about all monument signs, and monument signs aren't defined by their height. They're designed by their feature of being an independent structure. I read the code before coming in, and that is a concern, and we would then not be in compliance with our franchise agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't be asking repeatedly for this issue.
You'd let us move on now.
I haven't seen a picture of this monument sign. I mean, there's a size, and we'll go back to the code and look it up, of what the directional signage is. From our point of view, that directional signage is adequate. We're envisioning monument signs which are larger than those that are allowed to be provided for directional or other information. And so those are the things that I thought we had agreed that we weren't going to add into this package, because we have gone, that was the condition.
But is that true? Did you agree to that?
We spoke, as the mayor said correctly, that the 12-foot signs that we're entitled to would be eliminated. And yes, we stated that, we asserted that position.
So you did
But
agree to that then?
to the 12-foot signs being eliminated, yes.
Okay, now you're asking...
No, not now. The way that it's written, it doesn't state what we agreed to. It states that no additional monument signs, and monument signs, the definition in the code is any independent sign that has its own structure not attached to a building. And that is where the problem comes in, because the directional signs have their own structure, they're independent, and they can be defined as a monument sign. So may I propose then to, in order to move this forward if possible, that we'll come back to you for any of those approvals, as previously stated. Anything that was not approved within the site plan already, I would propose that.
Okay.
We just think staff should at least give you their opinion and know what it is that they're proposing before you vote on it, but it's certainly your choice to go either direction. But that, as proposed, is fine with us.
Thank you.
So there was still a motion on the floor, as stated, because I made a motion.
No, John withdrew his motion.
He made another one.
Oh, you made another one? Oh, well, I didn't hear that one. You better take that one again.
Mr. Mayor, I'm wondering whether we shouldn't defer this matter for a couple of minutes, let staff talk a little bit, make sure we're doing it correctly, we're doing what the council wants to do.
I mean, apparently there's another sign, better signage in that
Right.
sign
And that's why I
package.
want to have the
Somebody's missing here.
I want them to have a chance to look at the code during the meeting.
I would feel
and just
comfortable with that.
defer it toward the end of the
But
agenda.
just to clarify what your will, though, is, what I had heard was you'd like to approve or have a resolution approving the variance and also requiring that any additional signs have to come before you in order for them to be approved. I think that's what I heard.
Correct.
If that's true, then I think we have what we need.
Can you live with that right now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so
Let's
that's
call it as
fine. That's
stated.
the motion
That was the
Yes.
motion that was
Yes.
made, and I
Yes.
thought it was, did we hear a second on that, or?
No, we
No, it
did
was no
not.
second.
And I think then you can just do that, and then if they've got additional signage,
They bring
as
it
soon
back.
as we see the package, we can come back the next meeting, and it's really not a problem.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that said, if there's no further questions, can we do a roll call vote?
Councilman Burgess?
This is on the motion. The
on your
motion as
motion.
stated.
Right, and yes means I approve.
Yes means
They have
you
to
approve
come
the
back.
variance.
Yes. Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Warman?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abbas.
Are we done?
No, we are now moving to tab 15. We're taking things out of order, but it's important to do it this way, according to our attorney here. So we're going to move to tab 15, and do you want to read tab 15? And I'll
Certainly, Mayor. Yes. Your last and final item pertaining to the proposed Marriott Courtyard is tab 15. It is a final order of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a certificate of use to allow the operation of a hotel with on-premises sale and consumption of alcohol beverages located north of 312th Street and south of the Florida Turnpike within the Malibu Bay Plan Unit Development as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
entertain a motion.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff report.
Staff recommends a motion to approve the final order for this certificate of use to allow the sale of alcoholic beverages at the Marriott in the Malibu Bay Commercial Plan Unit Development. An alcoholic survey was done, which indicated that there are no churches, schools, parks, or government property within 1,000 feet of the site, and the applicant has indicated that their hours of operation will be those indicated by the city code.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council? Hearing no questions, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Seeing no questions from the public, I'll close the public hearing. At this time, any further questions from council? Hearing no further questions, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 19.
Moving on to tab 19. Tab 19 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the development order for the villages of Homestead, Development of Regional Impact, finding that said development does not constitute a substantial deviation, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. Mayor and Council, tab 19 is in coordination with tab 20, which is the proposed site plan for the Keysgate Charter School at the baseball facility. Just so you'll know that those both tabs are together on.
Okay, we're going to take them separately, though?
We're going to take them separately, but I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Okay, entertain a motion to move it forward.
Move it.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Staff report.
The staff recommends that Mayor and Council approve the ordinance which amends the development order, which expands the allowable school acreage from 58.34 acres to 93.64. This is a notice of proposed change to the Villages of a Homestead DRI, which will allow the Keysgate Charter School at the corner of Kingman Road and Palm Drive. This request precedes the request for the site plan approval. The DRI was initially approved in 1975 and has undergone several amendments over the years. This notice of proposed change has been reviewed by the South Florida Regional Planning Council, the Department of Community Affairs, who have both approved. The school will ultimately encompass about 25 acres. The DRI, like I said, was being amended to go from 58.34 to 93.64 acres, and this item is not subject to traffic concurrency. The next one was.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council? Hearing no questions from council, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council?
Mayor, before you and the council vote on this matter, there's one change to the ordinance that I would like to bring to your attention that we'll need to make. If you look on page 3 of the proposed ordinance, identified on page 3, the very last section is 2.8, where the acreage is being crossed through from 5834 and underlined is the new acreage. The Department of Community Affairs had also requested that the city amend subsection 2.10, which is a condition in the development order, and we need to add that subsection to the ordinance, and that basically would say that the baseball facility shall be on 100 acres, which it currently reads right now, and the new language would be of which up to 25.3 acres may be developed with a school. So in order to satisfy the Department of Community Affairs, staff would like to add that to the proposed ordinance, and we can make that change between first and second reading.
Okay, any objections to that? Okay, so be it.
It's an ordinance. We should move to amend the ordinance to include that language, if we could have that.
Motion to move the amendment. Second, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Okay, it's been amended. Okay, with that said, questions from council? Hearing no questions, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council? Hearing no final questions, Madam Clerk, call the roll.
On the ordinance as amended.
On the ordinance as amended.
Councilman Burgess? Yes. Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado? Yes. Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 20.
Yes. Tab 20 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting site plan approval for Keysgate Charter School, an approximately 144,429 square foot high school on approximately 25.3 acres located on the northeast corner of Southwest 152nd Avenue and Southwest 344th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Motion to move it forward. Thank you. Second. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Staff report.
The staff is recommending approval of the attached, of the resolution and site plan for the charter high school, which will allow the expansion of the existing school from 5.53 acres to 25.3 acres, and expanding the number of student stations from 650 to 2,450. This is a request for site plan approval for the charter high school. It is subsequent to the previous request of the notice of proposed change, which expanded allowable acreage. Again, the school is going to then consist of 25.3 acres. The future land use in the area is the PRAC. The plan includes about 144,000 square feet, a three-story high school with athletics fields. When expanded by year 5, it will accommodate an additional 1,800 students, up from the 650. There will be 650 paved parking spaces and 244 grassed overflow spaces. The project has been reviewed for concurrency, and mitigation has been agreed to.
Thank you, staff.
You're welcome.
Council, questions?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Shelley.
I guess my main question deals again with the traffic. You know, one of the things we talked about when this was going through the process was that at this site plan time, we'd be able to look at traffic, and that seemed to be, everyone was on board, everyone wants the school, but they wanted to make sure the traffic issues were addressed. And so if you could please maybe go into a little more detail, because as part of the report, all it really says is just that you've looked at the traffic's okay, but can you maybe go through a little more detail as far as what you looked at? Did you look at the stacking? Did you look at, you know, the trips? I mean, something that can give me a little more comfort that there's not going to be a traffic problem. And I have some questions for the applicant as well, but from staff, I'd like a detailed traffic analysis to some extent.
Absolutely. And if you'd prefer, we can have staff, Hank, if you want to present your findings on the traffic impact analysis, but essentially we reviewed this based on the concurrency management system, Chapter 1.5 of the code, which is very detailed in how you would go and do a traffic impact analysis for the site. And so what we've done is look about 1.5 miles out from the school at the major intersections, the roadways in between, the project driveways. We had the applicant agreed to a scope of services with the applicant, where we looked at everything from how many trips it would generate, took those trips and looked at the existing traffic on the roads, then applied those trips to the existing traffic on the road and ran various levels of service analysis where we examined what the level of service on those facilities was today without the school, what it would be in the future with the school, and then coupled existing development or committed development and growth on top of that. And on that, we looked at the site plan and checked queuing and all the level of service where we needed to, and found that there was one issue that we needed to address. And we've been able to address that with the applicant, in which case one of the intersections at the entrance to school is not performing the way it should. We have a level of service that's D. When we surpass that level of service and make traffic worse, what we want to do is bring that we want to put a project in place that brings that level of service back down to where it's supposed to be. Generally, you're just kind of expanding the cup that the water is in. And so initially, we're going to be able to do that by having some enforcement, traffic control with police out there. The city is then going to ask the applicant to go and do what is called a traffic signal warrant analysis. You can't put a traffic signal on the road until it meets one of several warrants set forth by Miami-Dade County. We're going to have them periodically test the intersection to find out when the warrant is needed. It will be needed at a certain point in time, and when it is, they'll figure it out, and they will then insert the proper control device in the way. And that's, in a nutshell, what we did.
Mr. Mayor, I have 2 more questions, if you'd let me.
Yes, please.
The next question is, I guess, more of a comment/question, and that is, I remember when we entered into the lease with the school, one of the things that we put in there, one of the things that I specifically asked if they could put in there was that if for some reason, at our discretion, we determine that there is a traffic problem that exists, because I know the big issue was the first school that they put in, the first charter school, it wasn't until after the students started attending that we realized there was a traffic problem. And so that was one of the things I wanted to try to guard against, was that if for some reason at our discretion we determine that this school is causing a traffic problem, they will be then obligated at their expense to mitigate that traffic. Is that correct? I mean, that was in the lease, correct?
Correct.
To protect us as a city, to make sure that if something does arise, we're not now dealing with a problem such as police officers, et cetera. I mean, they're going to have to cover the cost of mitigating the traffic that they've caused. And then my second question, I guess I just kind of made a statement, but my second question would be simply that, have we discussed this issue with staff has with the lake? Because we as a council went forward and kind of said, let's enter into negotiations with LA to take over the baseball stadium. And from looking at the site plan, the queuing goes all the way through, right around the baseball stadium. I mean, it kind of goes right through where LA may be operating some activities of some kind. I mean, have any discussions taken place between the city and LA to find out what their input is? Is this particular traffic pattern going to be a problem for them such that they say, well, we're not interested anymore? I mean, have we tried to coordinate that at all?
On behalf of the Development Services Department, no. And typically what is done is that you really add in the committed development. So the LA project is coming afterwards, and it's not one that would typically be coordinated. But certainly we can go back and make them aware of the situation that they'd be facing out there.
Okay. That's my only concern, though. I just don't want to. I don't have one project. They're both great projects. I just don't want to have one project affect the other one negatively, and not have us been proactive in trying to make sure that the parties have gone to the table together and said, no, this solution works for us, and then we know it's a win-win. That's my only thing. I don't want to pass this one and then find out 3 months from now, LA said, we're not interested anymore because you guys have already given these people rights. So I just want to make sure that maybe is proactively looked at before we go to second reading.
Okay, we'll take a peek at it.
Thank you. Questions? Final questions? Yes, please, Mr. Burgess.
As somebody who fought to have the police officer put out there for the present school, the original charter school, and then he also works at school here now, I've got a problem. I know there were many discussions on the original charter school would put in a stacking road down to the north side, swinging around the back of the building and dumping out on Pond Drive. And I would like to see, and I know the landowner, I guess, has given the school and its people a hard time, but I really think as we approach and enter into this high school, that needs to become a reality. Because those two schools mixing together over there in the morning is going to make that a totally impassable area. And that's the one concern that I get, because I live over there, I represent that area, and that's the concern I get. The people that try to get in and out of their condos or, their homes and their condos over there in the morning, it's becoming impassable. And their concern is another 800-900 trips in the morning, or whatever the number is that you guys come up with, 800 or 900 in the afternoon more, is going to make that even worse of a situation for them. So I look at your drawing here tonight on how you're going to bring people in and out, and I see them coming through the parking lot that you're already using to stack up for the other school. So I don't understand how they're going to intertwine together, work together to cross over Kingman, stack everybody up and bring people through. And I'm sure you've got an expert who's going to tell me how. And I'm going to tell him, please come ride with me at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I don't see how it works. But I'll listen to him.
Let me clarify something for me. Were you talking about the original K through 8 swinging that, where they originally talked about?
To the north side. They were supposed to come down the north side, come around the back side of the building and dump out. That's where they were supposed to do all their stacking. And I know that Charter Schools USA has fought, and I believe the landowner is the one that has blocked that.
Right.
But I think it would help the community, help us. I don't know what to do with the guy, but I mean, you've had more Charter Schools has had a lot more discussions than I have. But the biggest concern I have is the traffic and the problems it's going to present to the neighborhoods over there and the people. And I used to travel that way, and I don't go that way anymore. Now I go down to another failing intersection, which isn't as bad, and take the turnpike south every morning to get down, because I travel down to Keith. But that's the biggest concern that people have. And I think that, and looking at the drawings here tonight, and that I looked at, and they're just here in front of me tonight, so I use it that way, but I just don't see how it's going to work, and I'm really perplexed and all that. How.
And what he brings up, Mr. Manager, really is not Charter School USA, the existing K through 8 user. It's the owner of the land and the building. And I personally have walked that building, and there are several things that are substandard. I have no idea how they got it signed off. No idea.
Well, until 2008, we fought for years to even get school signs out there. But until 2008, there was never even an officer present. And then when I sat up here, I fought for it, and we finally got it in place. And then created the stacking through the stadium and everything, because it was so bad they would just stack up on Kingman Road. And I don't want to see that again with people that are frustrated trying to go through the parking lot where there's two schools coming in, or parking down on Palm Drive and letting their kids off, walking a quarter mile into the school, which many of them do now. I mean, there's serious issues over there that I think need to be addressed at some time.
It's a separate issue, but
Right.
it's something
Well,
that needs
yeah,
to
but it
happen.
all comes together.
Yeah, it all comes together, right. I mean, there are manholes out there, covers that are 4 feet off the ground, and they fence them in because the elevation is 4 foot difference.
Right. Because you've even now in today's...
I don't know what happened, who didn't push to bring the proper fill in, but it's a swamp.
Well, we've got it, they can buy it from us now. But anyway, you know, even with the present school, the new one that opened at the dormitories this past year, those parents also park all over the place and don't use the traffic pattern because they get frustrated in there to pick up the children and drop them off. So I want to make sure that this stuff is being addressed and I'll let you take the floor.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
My name is Stanley Price.
Turn on your microphone.
That's better. My name is Stanley Price. I'm an attorney with Bills and Sunberg, 1450 Brickell Avenue. I have the privilege of representing Charter School USA and as the applicant. Actually, the applicant is the city. But I'd like to address the concerns raised by the councilman. In addition to Mr. Corradino, who's a very well-respected traffic consultant, we've hired Hank Fondry, as well as because this is a charter school, we are required also to get the approval and sign off of the Dade County Public Works Department as to the internal operation of the site. I'd like Mr. Fondry to address the concerns raised by the councilman, and perhaps it will give him a better understanding of what our plan is and how we address those concerns.
Good evening. For the record, Henry Fondry, offices at 12651 South Dixie Highway. As Joe said, I did the traffic analysis for the school, Phase 1 and for Phase 2, and I did coordinate with your staff in doing it. The most important thing I think that you need to be aware of is that the school has agreed to separate the starting and ending times of all 3 schools. The high school and the elementary are going to be about an hour apart, and the high school and what will be the middle school on site, the one that we built originally, are going to probably be about an hour and a half apart. But we are agreeing in writing to keep all of the arrival and dismissal times separated by a minimum of a half an hour for as long as we're operating the schools. I believe it was the mayor had asked about queuing, or one of you had asked about the backup along that long road leading out to Alex Muxo. We can store about 156 cars on there, but on top of that, we have designated approximately 50 spaces on site, parking spaces on site, so that if ever that long road has a backup that extends into the public roadway, staff will bring cars onto these reserved sites, onto these reserved parking spaces to alleviate any kind of backup onto the roadway. Oh, yes. School buses come in by a totally different route from the automobiles, and they exit by a different route. So the 2 routes cross each other at one point, but the buses will never mix with the cars on site. So we won't have that contributing to a backup either. And the buses would exit onto Kingman, whereas the automobiles exit onto Palm, so they won't be near each other.
With the 30-minute stagger period, when I go by there in the afternoon, there's parents sitting there waiting an hour so that they're not the last one in line. So can you give me your theory on how that works? Because if they're coming back through and across Kingman into the school as they presently do, they will be blocking up your traffic pattern for the proposed site plan.
Okay, there are some people that do wait an hour, but they're not the ones that are wrapped all the way around that circle.
No, they do. Where your bus exit is and where your bus entrance is the road that they use now for the present the original charter school, I'll call it.
Right.
And parents sit there an hour so that they're not waiting in line for 30 minutes to come across the road and get in. When those people stack up there in the afternoon waiting and get there prior to, how does the inflow, outflow, and all that going to work smoothly? I don't follow it, is my question to you. How are you going to take care of that situation? Because you're using the same road for in and out, and right now they presently use both lanes to get across the road, yet you've got traffic coming in there in the morning, and if they're a little bit late, school bus is late, they're not going to be able to enter if they're coming after. Or if parents are late trying to get there to the school across the street, they're not going to be able to go down that road the proper way because the school buses are coming. If you need me to show you on a diagram, I'd be happy to.
Right. There will be staff in addition to the...
And well, that's my second problem, and that's how we got to having an officer out there originally, because a PE teacher does not understand the flow of traffic. A first grade teacher does not understand the flow of traffic, or an assistant principal. They're not trained in that. And that's where you're going to run into more problems that I have a problem with. So I'll leave it at that. You go ahead.
You could expand on
Well, where the high school traffic, the parents enter the drop-off lane that does cross the roadway that you're speaking of, where the elementary school parents back up. There will be a staff person at that intersection that is intended to be a school staff, but that's on-site. There will be only, off-site would be regular safety officers.
Let me answer your question. Under the terms of the lease, we are required by the terms of the lease that if a traffic issue is identified by the city staff, that we are to rectify that problem. If that problem occurs, we will have to address it to satisfy your staff.
My problem is excuse me, I'm trying to stay ahead of the curve.
Yes.
What has happened over routinely here in Homestead through its growth? Traffic was never taken into concern. Nobody ever stayed ahead of traffic, as can be witnessed with the original charter school, and to an extent now can be witnessed with the one that opened this past fall. I want to make sure that these problems are being addressed before we get there, and next fall, for lack of a better term, all hell breaks loose and nobody can go anywhere out there. Because what looks good on paper and with and coordination doesn't always go well when it's put in place.
Okay, Scott Woodry with Charter Schools USA. I hear you loud and clear, and believe it or not, we are being proactive. As you said, some of the PE teachers and some of the math teachers do not understand the flow of traffic. That is why we have uniformed police officers out there every day. We don't intend to change that. As far as people coming early, we've worked with Miami-Dade County Public Works Department to lay out a plan, and there are gates there that we can close to prevent people from coming an hour and a half early to get in queue to pick up their kids. And while those gates are closed, the other cars will be able to circulate for the drop-off and pick-up for the high school. And we have the ability within our network to do a little bit better job managing when people come and go and communicate with them and say, you know, look, we have a large school network here. The people that come to our school come by choice. They want it to work. They want it to be a good school and a good environment. And if we ask them, don't come an hour and a half early because the gate's going to be closed and you're not going to be able to get there, we believe that we can manage that situation. We've mapped it out. We've gone through it with Miami-Dade County Public Works, and I would tell you, I respect all of your questions and your issues and your concerns because you live in the community, but the people at Miami-Dade County Public Works are the most...
Are they the same people that signed off? Not to interrupt you, they're the same people that signed off on K through 8 over here that they now won't come fix the problem they created? Because if they are, don't use them as...
I'm going to tell you they did not sign off on it because at the time it wasn't a requirement under the Miami-Dade County Public School System to have that approval before a charter school opened. Today, the regulations are different. We have to go to Miami-Dade County Public Works, and I think they're working hard to make sure that that kind of a problem isn't repeated. So, no, I don't think they ever signed off on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Sheldon.
Mr. Mayor. Yeah, that was my biggest question I was going to ask to the applicant, and that was, you know, my biggest concern is I think that maybe it works by itself, but my problem is that we solved the first K through 8 issue with traffic because we use that parking lot. And then now we're solving the high school issue by using that same parking lot. And yeah, the staggered times might work, but to me it just doesn't, it doesn't make me feel comfortable because, again, it's just kind of a wait-and-see type mentality. So I think that maybe we need a little bit better illustration, or we need a better firm plan to say, okay, we know for a fact that it's going to be hour, maybe it's a 2-hour difference, I don't know. But that's my biggest concern, is you have the same traffic, you're solving the same traffic problem with the same solution. So it doesn't seem like that really works to me. That's my biggest concern.
We're really not, and if you come out there and you look at the time frames for the drop-off and pickup, especially the afternoon pickup, which is when cars tend to get in queue, because in the morning they're coming from 7 o'clock on, and quite frankly, if somebody shows up late to drop off a child in the morning, they don't have to go through a line because there's no line there. They go right into the school and are able to drop off that child at the front walkway. In the afternoon is when we have the cars backing up and queuing up, and we have an issue with an overlap. If you come out and look at the time frames it takes to pick up kids, even at the new dorm area, it's about 20 minutes. It's not an hour and a half. It's not 45 minutes. It's very quick until the traffic subsides to about 10 or 12 cars where it's not lagging all the way around the property. And Miami-Dade County Public Works has been out. They've come out and they've watched Palm Drive. They've watched the traffic on Kingman, and they've given us the input based on those times to stagger the drop-off and pickup periods.
Further questions from council? Yes, Vice Mayor.
Just a quick question. Have you had any meetings with LaLaye? Because I'm assuming that most of their events are probably going to happen in the evening, except on weekends and maybe during the summertime. I mean, that's what I'm just thinking is going to happen. So maybe something could be arranged that you could work something out with them to do that stacking in the mornings and
we have
afternoons.
not met with anybody from LaLaye, but we would love to.
I think that would be a really good compromise, and I think it would be something that, because I know when I met with LaLaye originally, they said they wanted to be good neighbors to the school, and they wanted to be partners, and I know you do as well.
If somebody could direct us to the right contact person, I would certainly appreciate that as well.
I think our city manager would be happy to do that, and I you know, again, I'm not speaking for LaLaye, but I can't imagine them having something at 7:30 in the morning. You know, afternoons might be a little something different, but I think we could work out a compromise.
In fact, Vice Mayor, we've been meeting regularly with LaLaye, and we'd be happy to include them in the next meeting so that we can work out some of these issues.
I would appreciate that very much. Would that be agreeable to you?
Absolutely. We'd love to participate.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions before I open the public hearing?
Mr. Mayor, if I also just may add to the question, this is not a situation where we're going to be building the school and there'll be 1,800 students there by September. That's an issue we'd like to discuss before you close the public hearing. This school is going to be phased in. We're on a very tight schedule. We're trying to be operational by the next school year. The staff of the city has been fabulous working with us in terms of processing, but they can't issue any permits. If this council feels within their purview that it makes sense, we would respectfully, in order to save time, we would like permission to get an estoppel permit or a hold harmless agreement with the city at our risk, no risk to the city, to proceed to get the necessary permits. Every day is precious to us in trying to be operational by the next school year. And we'd ask either the city have a special meeting to consider this on second reading, or in the alternative, permit us to give the city an appropriate estoppel permit that we will bear the entire burden at no risk to the city. If we are not successful, we will eat whatever costs we have expended at that point in time. And we respectfully ask the council for that consideration.
Tom Lampert. We've done that on the foundation pad, right? We got a hold harmless, so we got some kind of release. Right. No, I understand now. Yeah. No, I just wanted to show a pattern that we had already started. I'm just trying to show the pattern that we've already worked with. They've already put the pad out there, and they signed an agreement that says if something doesn't go right, they'll eat it. Right? Okay, that's what I was after. So council knows that we've already worked with you and allowed you to move forward and get started with these hold harmlesses or these releases that you give us. with that, I'd ask council to try to understand the time certain that's here tonight, so that we can move forward, so that the school can open on time.
Thank you, sir.
And I agree with what you're saying. Yes, very much. Especially if you give us the release and the hold harmless, I think that we can't lose. We're going to end up with.
If I just may add one further thing, in conjunction with the first item, which was a notice of compliance, we have received a letter which we have furnished to staff from the Department of Community Affairs dated February 14, 2011, which confirms that the Department of Community Affairs has no issue whatsoever with the designation of 93.64 acres as being not in deviation with the original development order. We've given it to city attorney and the city planner, and we'd just like to have it as part of the record.
Okay. All right. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, just one last question dealing with this traffic. You know, it doesn't make me very comfortable. I'm not really thrilled about it, but at the same time, I'm not an expert in it. So, you know, again, I'm going to go back to staff. You guys are experts. You guys have analyzed this. You've heard my concerns. You've heard Councilman Burgess's concerns, which are very similar. And in your professional opinion, you're okay. You think that this is going to work, that this is not going to cause a traffic problem. That's what the report says. The report says it's fine.
That's the case. The report says it's fine. And what the issue is here is you do a level of service analysis on these things based on numbers and not human behavior. And you're definitely going to get out there and you're going to be able, if we went out there and watched school and something was happening, you're going to end up looking at human behavior and very specific operational characteristics that are peculiar to the site. And I might suggest, which I think might satisfy your concerns, unanticipated consequences happen whenever you do something like this. And nobody can tell you that a school is not going to have an impact on a neighborhood, because for a half hour, an hour, it definitely does. I mean, you're flooding traffic in, you're flooding them out. On a level of service perspective, on the peak hours, you know, you're within your bounds. Maybe we go out there after school's in operation next year, after it's been operating for a couple weeks, maybe the first month, with the applicant, and sit there and observe traffic and figure out where the problem spots are, because they'll pop up and they'll move, and then you can, with the applicant, adjust those through various demand management techniques. For instance, if you're going to need to close a gate, or you're going to need to extend hours one way or the other, or whatever technique it is, we can probably arrive at that in consultation with them. We bring a couple transportation professionals out there, and that way we can mitigate the problem in the short term. Because no, the analysis was done is accurate. It's good. We checked it every way you could, and it shows that there's not going to necessarily be a level of service problem. But when you get out there, like you've seen, you know, anything could pop up at any different place. So if we did that, we'd be pretty proactive in mitigating whatever the problems were, and we'll be able to minimize them so that the community isn't suffering.
Mr. Mayor, last
Please.
question. And that kind of goes to, you know, because my options here are that if I'm not really satisfied with the traffic issue, then I've got to vote no. And if I vote no, then essentially I'm stopping the school. But there really isn't any other option for a school, and we need a school. So it becomes a policy decision where what I want to find out is, one, can we be proactive to make sure that we avoid as many traffic problems as we possibly can? You know, which I would like to see maybe do a little bit more work on that, or come back before second reading with a little better plan as far as your staggering. I mean, give me something in detail, not just in theory. And then based on staff's recommendation, or what you just mentioned, that is, if we do develop a problem, the likelihood of being able to maybe solve that problem. It may be a painful process, but at least at the end of the day, we may can get it right. Because if those are the case, then I think the benefits maybe outweigh the risks, because otherwise I have to vote against the school. I have to say that we're going to start from scratch again, and I don't think that that's what the community wants. So it's a tough decision, but I just need to make sure that we can find a solution at the end of the day. And if we can, then I'll feel comfortable at least going forward and getting the school on the ground.
As a traffic professional, I think that the best way to mitigate your problems that are going to inevitably arise on site, that are operational, is to go out there and look at it firsthand when it's happening. Those are things you can't tell years in advance with a scientific analysis like this. And I think you'll be best served. You'll have the school, and you'll be able to mitigate those impacts by observing it and work. It's already in their lease that they're going to go fix the problems that arise. and we'll build a nice relationship with them, watch it every month for a few days, the hot spots, and then mitigate those things as they come up, and it'll be a very proactive approach to planning.
And as far as them having to mitigate, I mean, that could be maybe even adding stacking lanes, or maybe adding a turn lane, or some other option. If we had to get to that point where there was no other option to solve this problem, that lease would allow us to force them to take that type of action to solve the issue, correct?
Yes, correct. Typically, what you would do is go from the least intrusive measure to the most. If you can get them to come at different times, close gates, this, that, and the other thing. If the problem doesn't get fixed, then you start going into capital items, signals, lanes, those types of things. Just about any problem out there can be worked out.
If I may, just a point of information real quick. We are pretty much governed on the site with what the design is right now by Miami-Dade County Public Works. I would love to take our traffic pattern and make it side-by-side stacking lanes all the way through, thereby doubling the number of cars you can have in queue. Miami-Dade County Public Works will not allow us to do that right now. And they are writing a resolution that we're going to have to sign that gives them the authority to shut the school down if we deviate from the traffic plan that they approve for us, just so you know. We also, you need to be prepared. There's going to be a mess out there the first 2 weeks of school. Every year, it always is, and thank you for suggesting that we go out a couple of weeks after the school is open. We will be out there the first 2 weeks trying to figure out where things are going wrong and educate the parents on what the process needs to look like, because they show up and they want to get in and out as quick as they can, and most often they find out that what they're doing is creating more delays, and they find out how to navigate and get in and out quicker over that first 2 weeks, and things tend to calm down. We would be more than happy to meet with anybody after that period has settled down, and if there's anything the city wants to tweak, we would love to tweak it. But as far as putting something on a plan to bring back here to you before the second reading, it's going to be very difficult for us to do that because it fundamentally will not match what Miami-Dade County Public Works is approving for us.
And let me ask you, don't you feel that your existing K through 8 is causing an overflow on the new process now? I mean, look,
absolutely.
There is absolutely. They built that school. There's not one bit of stacking, not one.
Zero.
How, again, I say it got passed, I do not know, Tom, because
it's a different system
so
at that
much.
time.
It's incredible. I think it's our responsibility to go back to the landowner and the building owner and require them to do some modifications. And as Mr. Burgess said, there are modifications that they've already talked about, which was swing a complete lane around the backside of that school. The land's there to do it. It's just who wants to spend the money. And so I think you're forcing, the existing K through 8 is forcing the new school, the high school, to take the burden of all the stacking, all this traffic. And somebody needs to be kept accountable, I think, of the original K through 8. We need to get on it, and we need to, somebody needs to report back to it.
We'll look into it, Mayor, and get back.
Okay.
Mayor, one more comment. I keep hearing the gentleman talk about closing gates. When Lillet Sports takes over, that may not be a possibility. So your engineers and all may need to come up with some different plans.
Understood. In my mind, I'm looking at doing it for 45 minutes at a time. That's all.
Right. But if they're bringing in, a baseball tournament or whatever
Understood.
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
we may have to do it with people temporary in that position if we have that kind of conflict.
just making you be aware of it.
Okay. Vice Mayor.
Y'all just said what I was going to say. So I just want to say for the record that they've always been willing to accommodate whenever we have a problem. When Mr. Burgess came on board and he fought for changes, the changes were made, and you've put you're willing to agree to that in writing. So I have full faith that you will do the right thing. And it's a mess at the beginning of school at every school. So. Got to give you, I'd say, 30 days.
No, I commend you because Dade County doesn't listen to us the way you listen to us, and we have a traffic problem out there and a parking problem.
That's why when you were saying Miami-Dade County, I was saying, oh.
You can forget it. They look at us and go, okay, we're going to put some signs up.
So I suggest we move forward, Mayor.
One more comment, if I could. I believe the resolution says that you guys will take care of the problems up till the CO is given to you. Would you guys be willing and able to submit tonight that you will take care of the traffic problems whenever they arise? Because
Oh,
I
it only
believe-
says up to the CO?
It says that, that any traffic and safety issues, you will address and mitigate traffic and safety issues to the satisfaction of the city's traffic consultant prior to the issuance of CO. What he's talking about is subsequent to, there's a provision in the lease, but I think it's a good extra safeguard to amend this resolution to say that any negative impacts.
It should match the wording in the lease, correct?
Yeah. What it says in the lease is
We're already bound by the lease, so I have no problem
But I
making this
want-
match.
But the language is one and one language is another.
I have no problem committing to the same language that's in the lease, so it's consistent.
So if you could move an amendment to this, to add an extra condition, which mirrors the condition in the lease, and then when we write up the resolution, we will include it.
Motion as stated.
I'll second that.
Okay, let's open the public hearing now, because I know we have one citizen who'd like to speak. So the public hearing is now officially open, and sir, the podium is yours.
Kevin Sullivan, 1860 Southeast 6th Court. I'm here tonight to talk about this issue, but I'd just like to deviate for a quick second to say it was an outstanding reading here tonight from 3 fifth graders.
Yes.
I was absolutely blown away. I wish one of them would come up and speak for me tonight. Okay, we've beaten this traffic issue into the ground. Being one of the delegates from the Keysgate community, we've met many, many times with the charter school representatives, Scott in particular. He's presented a lot of things. Knowing that approximately 80% of the students are going to come from north of the site, we had talked very, very at length of the amount of traffic that's going to put on, onto Kingman Road. And of course, if they come on Kingman Road heading south from Campbell, they have to make a left turn to go on to Alex Muxo Boulevard. So we had a discussion with the charter school people, and they were going to look into getting a restricted turning lane at school times. I don't know where that stands for now, but that was one measure that they did propose. But I guess tonight I'm in total shock when you tell me that the traffic is going to be looked at by Miami-Dade Public Works. Man, that's a low blow. I'd feel much more comfortable if we had the city manager and his staff tracking that. So I think that's it. The traffic is going to be horrendous. The charter school has never, and I say never, completely addressed the traffic for their K-8 elementary school. Yes, it's much better than it was, but it was so bad that it could not get worse. So now we've improved, but we're not there yet. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Any further comment under public hearing? We're going to close the public hearing at this point. Hearing none, seeing none. Final comments from council. Vice Mayor.
I was just going to say, until you've lived in the villages of Homestead and you have two schools at each entrance and exit, it's a mess. It's a mess. And, you know, but we've all just learned we have to deal with it. There's certain times, because there's only one road, and that's Tennessee on Homestead Senior High, except for Palm Drive, and they seem to all come down Tennessee. So, and the people in Lakeshore, they have a horrible time getting in and out. Same as the new Gateway School. It's horrible. I mean, we've had meeting after meeting after meeting in the villages of Homestead. So, you know, I think we're all trying here. We're trying to come to a solution and a conclusion, and nothing is going to be perfect, but we're trying. So I just wanted to put that on the record.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just want to, I feel comfortable with the Charter School USA. I think we know that they are having what Vice Mayor Waldman just said, having an issue with the current school there. I think with this school, we're in a better position when the relationship that we have with them, that they will work with us on curbing these issues. So I feel comfortable that we have enough enough tools in order to get them in compliance, if not, and according to the lease and according to what they just agreed with. So again, I just wanted to say I feel comfortable with approving this with the language that we have in place. Thank you.
Okay, if there's no further comment, Richard, will you put the wording together?
We need
us?
a motion. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We need a motion to a vote on the amendment, which added the lease language first.
Okay.
That's
a motion.
The motion's on the floor. It's been seconded. You just need a vote on this.
Okay. Roll call.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And then you need to vote on the resolution as amended, please.
Okay.
Councilman-
Motion to vote on the resolution as amended.
The motion's on the floor.
Okay. Second.
Just did the second. You
Okay.
just need to vote.
Roll call vote.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, tab 21.
Thank you, Council. And just one clarifying comment, if I might, before I leave. Miami-Dade County Public Works is going to
Sure, Mayor, to you.
I'm sorry. May. Miami-Dade County Public Works is going to govern what happens on the property. Your municipal people are also, and staff are also reviewing the traffic. Don't think that it's just Miami-Dade County Public Works.
No, and the reason I was beating the original K through 8 is because and I thank you, Manager, for speaking up and saying, well, look at it. That's where the problem. You're going to find that's where the problem lies.
Absolutely.
I mean, they offer nothing in way of stacking or way of parking or way of in or out. And until we address that problem, we're not going to fix the other problem.
Agreed. Thank you very much.
Okay, tab 21. Second reading.
Tab 21, the second reading of an ordinance to the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code by amending Chapter 22.5 Retirement Plans, Article 2, Police Officers' Retirement Plans, implement and comply with 2009-97 laws of Florida, the Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, and Heroes Earnings Assistance and Relief Tax Act of 2008, PL 110-245, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
Thank you. Thank you. Second? Second. Okay, what I'd like to do at this time is extend the meeting for 30 minutes to 9 o'clock, okay? All in favor?
Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good. Didn't even measure it. Okay, we got a motion, we got a second on the floor, staff report on tab 21.
This is just an ordinance that was, which brings our retirement plans up to comply with applicable law that which has changed over time.
Okay, thank you. Questions from council? Hearing no questions from council, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Seeing or hearing no questions from the public, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council? Hearing no final questions, roll call vote.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woolman?
Yes.
Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you,
Mayor.
Madam Clerk. Yes.
We have a point of clarification here regarding what just happened with the school. They're under the impression that you granted permission to allow them, assuming the hold harmless agreement is signed, to allow them to begin construction before the second reading. That was not our interpretation of what happened, so I think we're going to need the council to clarify that for us.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that. So let's, council, let's have some discussion.
Staff's got some concerns with that.
James, why don't you give a little bit of history about what's happened, because we have had some discussions about this.
Yeah, there was about a month ago, there was a kickoff meeting between city staff, between the whole development team of the Keysgate Charter School, where this issue was discussed. And there were a couple things that needed to happen pursuant and conditions pursuant to the lease agreement. One was that the applicant had to provide certificates of insurance to the city's risk management department. Secondly, the applicant was required to post a bond, and the applicant had submitted a hold harmless agreement, which we looked at, worked with the applicant and the applicant's attorneys, and revised. That hold harmless agreement stipulates that the applicant would have 30 days to submit their bond to the city. We told the applicant at that point that they were able to come in and do some clearing and grubbing and site preparation work, and that they could potentially start some foundation work, but they couldn't pour anything permanent. Number one, there was still a site plan that needed to be approved, and there were still 2 readings on the proposed DRI that needed to be approved. Normally, the first reading of the ordinance would have proceeded by itself, and then second reading would have been with the site plan. But because they're in such a big time crunch, we moved up the site plan, so the only thing remaining is the second reading to the DRI. Tom's informed me that there's still not building plans into him yet, plans that need to be reviewed, and those are probably 2 to 3 weeks out. So so that's the current status of where we are.
Unless you're doing as-builts, I don't know how you do it without building plans.
I don't think the plans are 2 to 3 weeks out. The plans are being reviewed right now privately, and then they'll come.
Maybe I can answer some of these questions because Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Manager.
Are the plans with Causeway now?
Yes.
Okay.
And they've been reviewed, generated comments, been resubmitted. They're virtually done.
From the last word I heard with MT Causey was that the plans are on the second review of the fire department. They're in Durham, and I believe WASA has been looked at them also. What they are intending to do is stake it, form it, dig it, place the steel, but they can't pour it until I have to review those plans also in our office with our own personnel. And if we find that it complies with the Florida Building Code and all the supplements with it, well, then I don't have a problem with them issuing them supposedly to help, a foundation permit or help them as they go along getting through the Second Amendment. But that was up to the city manager, and with the discussion with him, when that comes in, I will go to him to look for guidance as far as that is concerned. I haven't seen the drawings. I know they've been we stamped them, they perforated them, they took them over. They went for their review comments. I know they've been, like I say, to the fire department. That's where it's at right now. I don't believe I know the pad is in, the compactions. I believe that they're just laying it out now with the batter boards. For that to happen, to get ready, you're still looking at 2 to 3 weeks away before they get ready to place any concrete whatsoever on any slab, any foundation. So, there is still a little bit of time left to do what they have to do to get them to us so we can review them also.
So you don't feel there's any harm in digging the footings and placing the steel, because if they fail or something, you're not going to...
It's in their ball game. It's not with the city. That's from what I understand what the hold harmless was for.
There's nothing that you're going to have to retract. There's nothing that's covered. So I can tell you as a builder of 31 years... they're the ones that are going to be spending the money. They're the ones that are going to be out of pocket if something goes wrong, not us.
But have they submitted their bond and the insurance paperwork?
It should be there in the next 48 hours. The insurance is there. It's just the contractor's bond is being finalized.
There's 2 things. Today, I was told by JJW that the bond would be set probably before the end of the 31st of, March 1st, which is, I believe, is in 2 weeks. As far as the builder's risk, as far as the building is concerned, that's not going to be done until the permit is issued anyway. They can't, the insurance company will not issue that until builder's risk, until that permit is actually issued. So that's where we're at with that. That's the latest word I heard today.
So I think we just need to be clear that they won't be able to start building for at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Correct.
And we're 4 weeks into approval, correct? The next meeting would be roughly 4 weeks from now. So I think the question is, do you want to
allow them to dig the footings and put the steel in?
And that's...
How much does that help you, Scott?
It's like Tom said, it's probably a couple weeks worth of work, just digging all the footers in and putting all the steel in and getting it ready for inspection.
I think
so. It's a couple weeks worth of time.
I asked. I think the issue here is, how could that put the city in a bad position? Why would that be? And the answer really is that they're starting construction without approved plans. So the risk.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that till Tom starts. But there's a lag between when Tom issues the permit and when we're back here getting the second reading.
And that, from what I understand, is roughly a week, and so I think the question would be, do you want to give us the discretion to make sure the checklist is all complete, and then we say, okay, we're good to go, there's no risk for the city, or do you want to wait till the next council meeting where you take action? So we're talking about a week or two potential swing, and it's your decision.
I'm in favor of option one. Fine with me.
Okay, yeah, I'm with whatever.
We'll take that as direction to staff. There's no vote necessary.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, tab 22, excuse me.
Tab 22 is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Section 17-26, Shopping Cart Control Plan of Chapter 17, Miscellaneous Offenses of the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances, establishing a procedure for the disposal of shopping carts found on city property, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
Motion to move.
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just for, I guess, announcement purposes, this is something that was brought forward by the Code Committee. This is something that I directed staff to work on, and there should be some other code changes coming forward in additional meetings. So just, they're either initiated by residents or by myself or by even department heads. If they have some questions about code, then staff starts looking at them.
Okay, thank you. Staff report. Hello. James,
Sure. This is, as Councilman Shelley stated, staff is recommending approval of this proposed code change, and it's primarily a process designed to dispose of the shopping carts should owners fail to pick them up from the city's designated storage areas within the prescribed allotted time. Again, this is in line with what a majority of other municipalities do, and no issues have been raised or brought to staff's attention since second reading.
Thank you, staff. Questions from council? Hearing no questions from council, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing no questions or seeing no questions, someone speak on behalf of this item, I'll close the public hearing. Final comments from council? Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Waldman? Councilman Burgess?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay. All right, resolutions, none. Business from the city manager.
You want to talk about fluoridation?
I like how he says that.
Okay, city attorney. Same thing for you. Okay, thank you very much, hon. Anything? Okay, Councilman Shelley.
Just quickly, a couple months ago, we started the Art in the Chambers program, or reinitiated, I should say, the Art in the Chambers program. But we really haven't had a lot of applicants, so I just want to put it back out there that anybody, any artists, any photographers, any type of, that wants to get their name out there, wants to display their work, they just need to apply with the city, and then they can decorate the chambers with their artwork and show it off. So something, again, with Art South that came in today, it's a good opportunity for some of those local artists. Give local preference first, and then work out from there. So just wanted to make that announcement, nothing else.
So you think I can move the
Yeah, we can put your...
There you go. Councilman Maldonado.
Actually, Burgess is before me. So.
I'm sorry, Councilman Burgess.
Just real quick, proud to be getting installed to the Miami-Dade League of Cities Executive Board this weekend, and looking forward to representing Homestead. As far as I can tell, doing a history search, I'll be the first person ever from Homestead to be on the executive board. So look forward to representing the city and hopefully broadening our horizons down here and mine also. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Giving me the opportunity to do that and move forward.
Thank you. Mr. Maldonado.
Okay, just following off of that, I will be as well, not on the executive board, but I will be a part of the voting members for the Florida League of Cities this year, and I thank you for the appointment as well, Mayor Bateman. And again, we are working hard to make sure that we're well represented here in Homestead. I have, under the prior council, the city staff assisted in creating an educational non-for-profit to raise money to aid schools in the city. I would like your approval, this council's approval, to use city staff and attorneys to create a similar non-for-profit in assisting in raising funds. And basically, what we spoke about today through the Homestead Education Committee meeting is that we've definitely recognized that the best way that we feel that we could make an impact in the schools here in Homestead is by assisting them with the funds they needed. There's a lot of great programs that they have that need incentive dollars, and this would be the vehicle for us to put that in play. You know, we've spoken in the past how important education is for the city of Homestead and how it's the foundation of growing a better city. So I think this is the vehicle that we've been able to come up with to put in place to bring about those changes that we need so desperately down here. So I would ask the councils if you would okay that.
Okay, I don't have a problem with it. You need a motion?
No, just, is there agreement
All in
on
favor?
how that we should be able to do this?
Right. Yes. All in favor? Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
That's good. I'm proud of both of you guys. And Mr. Williams. So we got people all over the state of Florida representing us now. It's great. Just a couple of questions. Chief Roll, where are we at with the update on crime statistics? You know, we were going to have some type of workshop, were we not? And go over manager role, someone's role. So one of you guys is.
Yeah, we've been working with Lourdes with that, and I think we're going to have individual training with yourself and the rest of the councils, and we're going to try to narrow it down to like 1 hour, so you'll be able to understand how it needs to be done, and then you can also just go in yourself and take a look at it rather than me giving you a report every week or every month. So that should be done, I guess, when Lourdes, let me know when you're all available.
We can sit up here with our laptop and or print it out and bring it up at each meeting.
Yes.
Right, Mayor, and I think the issue was if you're going to all want to do that individually or as a group, and I think your offices or Lourdes is coordinating that with all of you to decide.
I wasn't
what your
aware of
approach
that.
is.
I wasn't updated, but thank you. That's what I was. Thank you very much. Okay. Any final questions of staff? City clerk?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to take a little.
That's all right.
Right, because Mr. Maldonado wouldn't let me go before. I'll give the customer service update next meeting because I want to make sure we have a lot of time to talk about that. Sorry. And I'm just going to hit on what I have to hit on here. There's a domino tournament at the center sponsored by WellCare on February 22nd. And movie trip to Flagship Cinemas, sponsored by WellCare on February 25th. Actors Playhouse on March 10th. Excuse me. This is all stuff that's going on at the community center. The Homestead Little League and Homestead Youth Baseball League have paid their dues and are in the process of signing contracts for 2011. Both leagues will have their opening day on February 26th at 9 a.m. And there will be a concert at Harris Field on February 19th. Plans were approved for Wickett Park, and we're moving forward to bid that out. Have a lot of things to say about customer service. I'm very proud of them. We'll do a complete report on that next time. And I'll just skip everything else and just say that don't forget Relay for Life. It's on April 29th, and there's a stack of papers in the back. If you eat at Chili's on February 28th, 10% of the proceeds will go to Relay. And the Little Angels will be selling strawberries at the Keysgate Farmers Market Saturday morning. So I know you want some strawberries because all the proceeds go to the Little Angels, and I appreciate that. So, I hope you all had a happy Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, my husband and I were married 25 years. So to my honey, he's not even in here, but happy anniversary and happy Valentine's Day. Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, staff.
Good night, everyone.
You sound like Frazier.